internship opportunities and full access to the Becker CPA exam review. Prepare to graduate in only 12 months. Visit business.louisville.edu today to learn more. We're on the air today from 2:32 until 5:30 here on 96.1 FM, streaming on YouTube live and airing live on WBNA Channel 21. You know us better as the Big X. Mike Rutherford and Roman Kelly here with you on a gloomy Wednesday, I should say. But it's still warm inside of our hearts. Basketball, everyone's calmed down a little bit. We're not freaking out. We're not throwing chairs against the wall. I think we'll have a much more positive reaction to exhibition game number 2. We'll get to that. We're now also getting into we're at the halfway point of game week, getting ready for Virginia Tech. Big time November, meaningful football game. We'll discuss that. We'll play a little proper reaction, overreaction, since we didn't get a chance to get to that yesterday. And we'll take text from you guys, as always, on the Game Day Men's Health text line. That number, 502-414-1450. Roman Kelly is here producing the absolute hell out of the show. As always, you just heard him for the last 30 minutes. You'll hear him again from 5:30 to 6 today on the Ticket Punchers. Roman, how are you?
Great, Mike. Had a busy week. Got a busy end of the week. But I'm feeling good. Glad to get a win, even in an exhibition game. Glad to, what would be, break the record of threes if it was a real game in a game for us. Glad to see Michael get back right. But I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, I don't know if somebody did this purposely, but I've talked about the YouTube channel being on the TV when I come in here, and almost every single day it's, Trump, Levitt, Vance, Stephen Miller. It's something on here where they're just like political stuff is just going on, and I'm like, I don't want to get into. We're going to talk sports. We're about to have some fun. I don't want political stuff just all over me. Today's more like it. I don't know if somebody did this intentionally or if it just defaulted to this, but we've got like cozy fall background setting on the TV. I don't know if I can I would love to get this on the cameras. It's a giant pumpkin like log cabin house with a fireplace going, beautiful fall leaves falling.
That's festive.
Very festive. Little brick action inside there. Comfortable chairs. Couple lanterns in there. Additional pumpkins just sitting there. I feel very cozy. Everything about this right now. Still raining outside. A little cold outside. We got the heat going. We got the pumpkin cozy backdrop. I just want to take a nap. I'm ready for a nap. Would you be comfortable doing 15 minutes of radio while I take a nap?
Yes.
No, you don't need to do that.
Kicked you out of here yesterday.
You did kick me out of here yesterday, which I ended up just sitting in the Assumption parking lot for 20 minutes waiting for my daughter to get there so we could do the trick-or-treat event that she had for her Girl Scout troop. Yeah, I'm single dadding again it's a short work trip for Mary. She gets back tomorrow. But single dad life for a couple of days. And wasn't ideal last night with the game happening, and then sleeping arrangements are terrible. Virginia just cannot sleep without Mary putting her down. So she got up at like 11, came down while I was trying to, more like 10 o'clock, trying to eat a little late dinner, and made me go upstairs and get into bed. The kids just sleep on top of me. Just limbs everywhere. It's awful. It's ridiculous. Had to get up very early to get them both ready for school today. Took Virginia, came back, got John ready, took John. It's just, it's tough. But we're managing. We're doing well. We're feeling good. The trick-or-treat event last night at Assumption was very nice. It was Virginia enjoyed it. She was dressed as Rumi once again from K-Pop Demon Hunters. The high school girls that were working enjoyed the costume. They all recognized it, which made her happy. So we're doing well. A little bit light on sleep, but we're doing okay. We're feeling good. What did you get into last night after the U of L game? Watch any World Series? What were you all up to?
No, we were NBA watching. Holly's hit like a parlay every day for like 5 days in a row now.
Should we get Holly on Ticket Punchers?
Yeah. She's followed this method where she kind of got it from the Ticket Punchers, but she is taking, like, if this guy is supposed to get 15 points at minus 100 or minus 110, she's taking that dude to get 10, right? And she's keeping it like 6 to 8 legs of just super, super minus 250, minus 300 stuff. $5, $10 to win, $30, $40. And she's hitting every day now. Love to see it. I'm hitting like every other day, which is cool.
Good for her.
That's really great for me. And I'm just like, wow, she's kind of just listening to the show and seeing what she sees on the books, seeing what she sees, what she likes. And we've got this NBA League Pass now, so I'm cutting cut the game. They got Buddy Hield out here. I'm like, they need to put Rui back in. They need to put Rui back in. It's been fun to watch her kind of become an NBA fan in live time.
Is she really listening to the show, or has she just developed her own superior method?
It's a little bit. Well, I think she got the method, got the idea from the show, and then took it and ran with it, and made it her own.
This is how you cook. You take somebody else's recipe and you improve upon it.
Add a couple ingredients that they're missing, or take out a couple ingredients that they're missing. In this case,
this is what genius is. She may be the next great. There's this new world out there where these 20-something women are making big money off of becoming kind of gambling and sports gambling influencers, because everybody loves seeing pretty girls talk about sports. Yeah. It's a time-tested method. The recipe always works. And
a viral tweet about that.
So you used to have. It's always been influencers have been pretty girls doing like the travel stuff, and now you're getting a lot of, because sports gambling's legalized pretty much across the country. This could be a route for her. This could be a way for her to be very successful.
I have her own show on Real Spiel here and going.
She keeps punching tickets. She's going to be,
Yeah, like last night she's like, somebody gets a rebound. She's like, oh, I hit. I'm just like just a week ago, you're like, she hit her first parlay literally like 10 days ago. And she was super, super ecstatic about it. And now it's like regular old news now.
This is me during the NCAA tournament when... And I've done pretty well in bracket contests the last few years. I picked 3 straight national champions, which I'm sure will end this year. It's a rarity. But, like everybody else.
No, you're streaking, Mike.
Well, we'll see. But like most everybody else, my bracket's a mess. But I do this for a living. I cover college basketball for a living. I'm back doing it now full time. But, there would be years in like 2017, especially before kids, when it was like I'm watching everything, writing about everything. I'd pick VCU to beat USC with I've watched both these teams multiple times. I know the players, I know the strengths, I know the weaknesses. And then Mary's like, I like USC because I know USC. I don't even know where VCU is. And then the game ends and she's like, well, I told you. And I'm like, it eats at you a little bit where you're like, I had I put the legwork in to make an educated guess here, and it just didn't matter. It did not matter at all. And we're doing the bracket pool, and my, your friend's wife that's picking schools based on, mascots is just destroying you.
Yeah,
it's a terrible feeling.
I know this team allows this. I know this, and this, and it's like, oh well, just a couple less than what he normally gets.
It's a bad feeling. But credit to her. She's capitalized.
I love it.
She's making big time plays. Well done.
We were watching NBA.
Nice.
Didn't cut too I obviously when the World Series game's on. Like every 10 minutes, I'm looking at the game cast. Just I have to, I have to know if somebody's doing something crazy or not, so I know to tune in. But pretty basic night. We're gonna go walk Hillcrest like tonight or tomorrow night.
Oh, nice.
Do a little pumpkin carving.
Ooh, nice.
But I don't know if you saw my Instagram story a couple days ago. I don't like what Hillcrest looks like when I drive down it, Mike.
So you said that. What I have
the last 3 or 4 years now.
You think it's?
And granted, my parents I've lived off Frankford Avenue with my parents since 6th grade. I haven't lived off of Frankford Avenue directly in 5 years, but my parents still do in the same house I lived in since junior year of high school. So anytime I'm going to see them, I'm going in that area. I constantly am. I'm weekly going up and down Hillcrest. Sure. It's just not what it used to be.
You think it's getting soft?
I would say that back 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago, I'd say it was 78% of the houses all had decorations. Now it's like 62% of the houses have decorations. And out of that 62, Mike, only like half of them are going all out. They used to go all out. Every single house putting decorations up was going all out. And then there was the occasional house that had the basic decorations.
Yeah.
And even within those basic decorations, there was still a large number of them, right? Now it's all just a bunch of random stuff just hammered into the yard. Nothing exquisite. I feel like it's not what it used to be.
So, I mean, I went as a kid, and then there was probably like a 20-year gap where I didn't go. And Mary and I went a couple of times before kids, and we've gone every year since we've had kids. So I can't speak to it with the same type of historical knowledge that you have. But I do, like, the first part I definitely agree with. There were more houses this year than at any point over the last like 6, 7 that just didn't do anything. And I don't want to be overly critical.
They need you out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd make some plays. We'd have to step it up, though. You can't just have Giant Pumpkin. You got to have a theme.
Giant Pumpkin will be on the roof.
Yeah, you got to go all in. You got to be a thinking man on that street. If you move into that street, though, or if you, I just don't know, how much of a boner do you have to be to just not decorate? I don't want to criticize, because I'm sure that there's some great people living in those houses. Hopefully they're not listening to the show.
Absolutely nothing is ridiculous.
But every time that I walk past one of those houses that has just nothing out there, I'm like, how do you do this? How do you not at least, because like you said, some houses they're doing the bare minimum. At least do the bare minimum. At least set a pumpkin out there, or put a couple lights out there, or do something. The houses that have nothing out there, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? There was a house that clearly caught fire, and the people that I guess own it, who aren't living there anymore, still turned the house into like an on-fire house theme. I was like, props to them, still stepping it up. But there were it's not just a couple. Like, there's several houses on that street that just do nothing, and I'm just like, are you just angry all the time?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's, I don't want to say hopefully there's some sort of excuse, but like if you just like, hey, I don't want to partake.
To be fair though, like, I have you in that area of town. You know better than to drive on Hillcrest after like 7 p.m. once October hits.
You should, yeah.
That's where it's like I've only driven up and down it in the daytime. So maybe at nighttime in its full glory, the week of Halloween, they've got it all. Maybe all the lights and stuff can make it look a little better. I'm gonna give it a chance on foot at night and see if that changes.
It does look different at night. We went one time during the day. We also went like the second week of October, thinking that most people would have stuff up, and then we went last weekend. And there were a lot of houses that had nothing on like October 10th that were fully decorated. And there were even some people outside working, like still adding stuff. It looks a lot better at nighttime than it does during the day. But there are still several houses that just do nothing. And I can't relate. Are you worried about it? People are like, some people are like, it's the pagan oranges. Listen to any podcast about Halloween, read anything about Halloween. It's all Christian origins. I keep saying oranges. Origins. There's actually no firm evidence that Halloween was ever actually originally a pagan holiday. Samhain in Scotland, I think is a lot of people trace the origins there. There's also a lot of nobody knows the exact origins about Halloween, but there's no doubt that a lot of them are Christian based. Funny. Ready for a little fact?
Oh yeah.
So everyone knows you've got All Saints Day on November 1st. These, by the way, a lot of these holidays were originally in the spring, but everybody wanted them. Everyone celebrated them on November 1st because that was seen as like you're turning the page, winter's coming, people are going to die. And that's basically how Halloween got there. But it became known after you had Hallows, eventually it became All Hallows Eve, right? The Scottish, who like to abbreviate everything, started saying like Halloween, like very quickly. That's how we got Halloween, was the Scottish people doing abbreviations because they can't be burdened to say two different words and they have to turn everything into some sort of morphed word. That's where Halloween came from. And then we adopted it when people started coming over here from Scotland and the United Kingdom.
I didn't know that.
There you go. But there's a lot of debate over some of the origins of Halloween. All we know is it's fun, and you should decorate your house if everybody decorates. Come on. All right, let's get into the discussion. Louisville last night, exhibition play against Bucknell. This was one of those games where even you knew if Louisville lit it up, there were still going to be people that were going to be dissatisfied. It was almost a no-win situation for the Cards for a lot of this fan base, and certainly for every UK fan, which felt first half, I'm getting lit up by UK fans who are like, man, you guys are you're terrible, you stink. And then we hit a billion threes, and the same people are like, congratulations, you hit a billion threes against Bucknell. I'm like, it can't be both ways. You can't do it, but this is the way it's going to be until we actually play the game, which, by the way, it feels so weird that we're talking about the exhibition season coming to an end. We're 13 days away from Louisville versus UK in men's basketball.
Crazy.
We're less than 2 weeks away from Battle for the Bluegrass, the drink, whatever you want to call it. it's right there on the horizon. If this game were being played on December 30th, like like the old days, and we were sitting here talking about it being December 17th, we'd all be like, oh my God, the game is right there. The game, and it just doesn't feel real because football season's still in full swing, and we haven't played at games that actually count, but Kentucky is right around the corner. But last night, Louisville, after a little bit of a slow start once again, they do what I think that we all thought they would do in a game like this. Not necessarily shoot a school record 3-pointers, but they win by 23. The game is essentially over at halftime. Any fear, and we certainly had our fair share on the text line, any fear over this being a team that once again was going to not shoot to its historical averages, or we recruited shooters that can't shoot or anything like that, I think last night put that to bed. It should have never become a thing to begin with. Are they going to have bad shooting games this season? Of course. Every team has bad shooting games. It's basketball. It's the way that it goes. Is this a group of very good outside shooters that more times than not are going to punish teams that don't effectively defend the perimeter? Yes. And we saw that last night. They shot the lights out, 23 of 46 from three. As mentioned, the 23 made 3-pointers would have been a single-game school record had this game actually counted. Michael Brown, for all the people who were like, I saw him play one time in October and he didn't play well, the kid must suck. He put the kibosh on that last night, was tremendous, hit 8 3-pointers himself, looked in control, took better shots, I thought, let the game come to him a little bit, and got it going. Isaac McNeely also, shocker, is a good 3-point shooter despite going 2 of 10 from 3 against Kansas. He hit 6 of 9. Ryan Conwell plays a great game. Lots to discuss. Certainly not all positive, but overall, this was what I think the fan base wanted to see from this team after a disappointing effort last Friday against Kansas. Your biggest takeaway, Roman Kelly, from the Cards' 23-point triumph over Bucknell last night?
The shooting, the across the board, Mike. We are going to have the ability to put a high number of points on the board when this team's clicking. That's obviously the main takeaway, because how can you not when we go on to hit that many 3-pointers? I think another takeaway was just how back and forth my brain kept going on the positives you get from having this many players that you trust and can play, and then how long it can take to figure out what your best possible rotations are and who works the best with who. And you got to figure it out early with the new age of college basketball and how non-conference slates are set up. So I just kept thinking about, is this team, like the plays and the sets that we're going to get, are they going to be working well for us, or are we going to be in the figuring out phase still, right? When you think about that Indiana game last year, that Oklahoma game last year, games we definitely felt like, in terms of how their rosters look and how they were playing, we could have won, especially at a different point, or we beat Indiana. But like the Oklahoma game, that's like a kind of game we felt all season long we could have won that game if we played them at a different time, right? Once players really got going. So I just don't want to have any of that going on. It's as much as that offense looked good on the possessions we hit shots, I still have that kind of a worry on how we're going to look defensively against those top teams, or those teams that are projected to be top teams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we were on here saying we can't overreact to the bad against Kansas, we certainly can't say we have to overreact to the good against Bucknell. I think most fans know to take both games for what they're worth. There were certainly some disappointing things against Kansas. It's like I said, it's what you'd expect. You can do things against Bucknell that you can't do against the Kansas Jayhawks. This isn't rocket science. This shouldn't be news to anybody else. Still, being able to go out there and do what you're supposed to against the Bison, I think was a comforting performance. Like we all saw the highlights of Isaac McNeely shooting the ball at Virginia. Hell, we played against Isaac McNeely 2 times each of the last 3 years. We know how good he is. We know how lethal he can be when he's left alone. But to actually see the ball go through the basket as regularly as it did last night, I think was comforting. And then with Michael especially, I think maybe for him, he needed to although he doesn't strike me as a kid that's going to get particularly down after a game like that. I think the common thought was, it wasn't just Darren Peterson is fantastic and you didn't play well. It's everybody's gushing over A.J. DeBonsa. Everyone's gushing over Cameron Boozer. And then people were like, well, what's wrong with Michael Brown? You got to bounce. Like, I don't think that he really I don't think that stuff affects him that much. He strikes me as a kid who knows just how good he is, and is only when he has a bad game, he's going to get back in the lab. He's going to go back to work, but he's also not going to hang his head and be like, "Oh my God, do I suck?" and press. He let the game come to him last night, which I thought was really encouraging.
Definitely a great sign.
And I think that there were some of the accounts out there that cover AAU stuff and cover amateur basketball really closely, who were all saying the same thing last night, which is one of the things that you've noticed about Michael Brown over the last couple of years is when he has a bad game, he tends to bounce right back with a very good game. He's just that type of guy. Frankie Vision, I think, was saying that last night. Shout out to Frankie Vision. The biggest difference to me, and I stand by it, I think against Kansas, he was taking a lot of early in the possession, challenge three-pointers off the dribble. Wasn't set, kind of fading away, had hands in his face. He's a very good shooter. Obviously, he went 8 of 11 from 3 last night. Those aren't good shots. He still has to know what a good shot is. He only took really one of those last night, and it was kind of a heat check after he hit a couple. Came down, got a screen, had a little bit of space, and took a deep three-pointer where he wasn't really set, and he came up short on that. You saw him at least get started last night. The first couple of threes that he made were off the pass, where they got into the offense, he got a little bit of space, he was left alone, and it was catch and shoot. And like most people, he's a much better catch and shooter than he is off the bounce. That's just about everybody who plays basketball. He will have to learn, I think, on the fly, the difference between a good shot at this level and a bad shot at this level when we're playing the best teams on our schedule. And the experience against Kansas and then the experience last night, I think will greatly benefit him moving forward. People have made the same point, I'm sure, a million times today, and so I'll make it 1,000,001. You learn more from playing these types of games than you do if we're playing, Spalding and Georgetown College. No disrespect to those programs, but Michael Brown can get any shot he wants against those teams. Having to work for it and seeing him take kind of like, I don't know if I should take these type shots against Kansas, and seeing it not go well, and then taking better shots against Bucknell and seeing the stat line, 28 points, 8 of 11 from 3, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. That, I think, will greatly benefit him when we start playing real games coming up in 5 days. I thought he was great last night.
I thought he was really great. I thought he did everything well offensively, Mike. Every time he was confident in the open shot he had in front of him, he took it. He didn't hesitate, which is great. A freshman typically, especially potentially coming off of a bad game, you might be a little bit shaky out there, even more unsure on what's a good shot, what's a bad shot. If he wants to take it, then it's kind of a good shot if he has breathing room to go up with it, and he was out there finding those. When he didn't have that, Mike, got the ball to the floor after a good move to give himself space and got open shots for other guys, right? Uh-huh. And I think him showcasing he can get into the paint, or knowing when he needs to try to get into the paint, is a really good sign. Obviously, though, that's always going to be, every time I say something like that, the next thought is that was against Bucknell guards.
Sure.
He's going to be able to do that against Arkansas guards, against Tennessee guards, against Kentucky guards, right? And it starts now. It starts in your exhibition games, addressing it, getting right after it into your next possible time out there. So glad to see that improvement.
The last thing that I think we need with Michael Brown, remember last year at the beginning of the season I was like, Peyton Siva could help Chucky Hepburn when it comes to keeping his dribble alive, becoming like a probing point guard. Because early on, Chucky would drive the lane, he'd get stopped, he'd pick up his dribble, and then the offense would essentially just reset. He'd keep the ball out, we'd go back. After about like the first 3 or 4 weeks, he became a probing point guard who would make the defense uneasy. I think we need Peyton Siva to get in the lab with Michael and work on finishing at the rim, because that was seen as one of the knocks on him coming into college. He's not finished well at the rim in either of the exhibition games. He's got a bigger frame. We got to start using it now, because he can get to the rim at will. You're not utilizing a vast advantage if you're not finishing at the rim this season, because he's lightning quick. He's highly skilled.
Adrian Woolley as well.
Adrian Woolley needs to finish at the rim better, too.
Because he can get to the rim at will.
But he's shown it a little bit, Michael. That's been kind of one of his bigger weaknesses. Peyton Siva, get on it. Earn that salary, baby. Let's go. We'll take a break. More thoughts from the exhibition win over Bucknell coming up after the break. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, the Wednesday edition, here on 1450 and 96.1 The Big X. hour. Hope everyone's stay safe on the road. It's cold, it's rainy, people are crazy out there. Hour number 2, not even hour number 2, 3 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show. I slept very little last night. 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. We'll get to you guys in the Game Day Men's Health text line momentarily, but for now, continuing to react to Louisville's exhibition victory over Bucknell last night. 99-76 was the final score. Louisville had ample opportunity, by the way, to get that into triple digits. I mean, we got to say something about our boy Cole Sherman.
Come on, Cole. You got to knock that down.
We love – this is a Cole Sherman, a pro Cole Sherman show. The biggest pro Cole Sherman show in this area. But he gets to the line. Yeah, we didn't have to shoot. So everyone's like, oh, we're going to dribble out the clock. He gets a golden opportunity to be an October basketball hero. Gets the foul, goes to the line 1-1. Hits the first shot, place goes nuts. Maybe he can do the lift the shirt celebration. I was waiting for it. Didn't make it. Bricked it. We get stuck at 99. I mean, 100-76 just feels so much better than 99-76. Or 101-76 would have felt a lot better. Didn't get it done last night. We talked about the shooting. The shooting was, it is what it is. 23 of 46 from 3 is outrageous. By the way, we made 8 shots beside that weren't three-pointers. They all were layups or dunks. If we do that in the regular season, I think we're in pretty good shape. Again, you do that against anybody, you're probably in pretty good shape. But let's talk about some of the areas of concern from the Kansas game that maybe carried over here. Front court play. There was a lot of talk about Sananda Fru basically being invisible against Kansas. Ali Khalifa, while he made some dazzling passes, he had 5 turnovers in that game as well. Kenai Roots didn't do a ton. Give me your take on what we saw from the front court. We knew they would play better against Bucknell than they did against Kansas just because it's Bucknell and not Kansas. What are your thoughts now after seeing them for a second time?
I think the offense as a whole kind of benefited them a little bit more, Mike. Obviously, when players are going in and out more and the ball's moving around a little bit more, naturally you're going to find your bigs more. I liked seeing the lobs to Fru. There's just enough possessions out there that I felt showed Fru and Zugris still are adjusting to the pace of play in terms of how quickly the ball is moving, how much pressure is on them when they touch the ball. The other team's bigs right on them, trying to slap the ball out of their hand. They're clearly trying to adjust to making the right decision when they're feeling that kind of pressure, and that kind of slows things down and can make your offense look a little bit clunky as you're not having clean, crisp passes in those really basic sets that you're running out there. So they've got to just learn more and get more comfortable with what's going on out there. But I still think that Fru, like there wasn't anybody out there stronger than you. And a couple of finishes, you've got to be establishing your dominance just a little bit more. The very second layup of the game that he got, great move to kind of get his man off of him a little bit, but you're already down there. You're already underneath the rim. I mean, I'm not saying swing an elbow, Mike, but no one can stop you from dunking that basketball with your shoulders, right? Get that shoulder, one guy off of you, go up strong, and finish that with 2 hands, right? Little things like that you want to see.
I think, real quick, I think that's where people talk about adjusting to the American game or adjusting to the European game for guys that have played over here their entire lives and then go play pro over there. I think that's one of those adjustment areas. The physicality at the college game in America is so much more than it is at the pro level in Europe. Not that they don't have big dudes over there. They just don't let them get away with stuff like that. You get a rebound, you kind of clear space out at the college game. That's par for the course. Nobody calls that. You clear out after you get a rebound in Europe, they call it every time. They want the game to be far less physical than we allow it to be, especially at the college level over here. And I think that's going to be one of those adjustments that he has to make over the course of the season. Because, I mean, you're exactly right. You get the ball in space. You're bigger than all those guys. Use that body. They're not going to call it. And if they do, okay, cool. It's still worth doing. Like you've got to throw your weight around a little bit. He seems unwilling to do that just because I think he's been conditioned to avoid contact. Anyways, continue.
That's just kind of where I'm at on the front court, right? I think that Ali is weirdly our best rim protector, Mike.
I have the same take.
Well, I don't understand what that's about. Maybe it's just circumstance, the moments that Ollie's getting in there, but He's contesting and going up, I feel like, with the most strength when players put the ball in his face and go up to the rim, right? And I not doing a great job without fouling. He had the one swipe that I guess he got a little bit of hand as well, but I thought that was a really clean timed strip there. Ollie looks good. He obviously can't like slide his feet. When he's having to deal with a guy that has the ball a little bit away from the rim, you worry about him. But when it comes to holding his own and standing his ground right at the rim, Ollie seems to be doing a pretty good job of that. Zugris and Through, they're going to have to know where to be and when to be there right at the same time. Like, that's just certain things in this type of basketball that they maybe aren't as comfortable with, kind of like you just mentioned. When you slide the feet, when you kind of bring your help defense over to contest a shot. Little things like that that they're maybe just not as comfortable doing yet, that it's going to take a little bit of time. I thought Kanai looked good and bad. He's playing kind of a couple different roles out there, which there's not a lot of people playing multiple roles yet on this team, but he's someone that's coming in. They're playing him at the 3. They're playing him at the 4. He's having to play big and play small a little bit already, and I think he's doing a good job of kind of letting the game come to him versus just being frozen deer in the headlights out there on the offensive end. But there's still a couple of things that have to be better. You have to be more decisive. You have to be assertive in certain moments, like a broken play, you end up with the ball in the corner and a live dribble one-on-one with a smaller man in front of you. You need to be putting your shoulder in him. You need to be getting to the rim, right? The jumper looks a lot better.
It does. I agree there.
And I like to see that. He is also, like, I feel like playing the hardest right now. He's getting up and down the court no matter what the score is, no matter what the time is, no matter where the ball is. Very, very hard. So you really like to see that, just him fully being bought into this team and this system and the culture. As someone who maybe, I don't know what his expectation on himself has been, but it's easy to be a young guy and kind of be unsure about things and maybe have your own opinions on what it should be come into effect. But it doesn't seem like he's prone to that at all, which is really good, at least on the eye test and exhibition games, right?
He's the most athletic dude we have on this team.
And he needs to start showing it, though. I'm not going to, nice. Those jumpers looked good. That's the expectation here. That's why you were brought here in the first place. You were also brought here because you have a different type of skill set at your size, and it's time to start utilizing it because, granted, it's not glaring open, oh, wow, this is a crazy mismatch in transition, get him the ball so he can go take advantage. That's not happening every time he's out there, and there are quick substitutions, but there are enough moments out there where Kanai needs to start taking advantage. I think that's been the case in 2 games, or in the first game as well. He had a couple moments where he had like a Kansas guard out there guarding him. Get to the rack. But I don't know if I really trust his ball handling ability, and that's kind of where I just think the one worry is when he does put the ball on the floor, can you be secure with it? Because if you can, no one should be stopping you from getting to the rim. But this is kind of what we were saying at the halfway point of last season.
I was going to say that there's still a big freshman vibe about his game where I'm not just playing. I'm still thinking too much about what I should and shouldn't be able to do. I was definitely hoping that he wasn't going to have that this year. Once you have full grasp of a system and you've played high-level college basketball for a full year, you're hoping that offseason is when you make the big jump, you improve the skills that you need to improve, and then you've got the mastery of the offense and the mastery of what's expected of you, and so you can get out there and you can just play. It's pretty clear. I don't think they trust him a ton. Like, he's not playing. They played him a little bit more in this game because they could, but you can sort of see why. I mean, he played 17 minutes last night. He had more turnovers than anybody else. He had 3. He had 3 personal fouls. A couple of them were bad fouls. The jumper does look better, which is good. The ball handling looks about the same. And I think the fear of making a mistake was essentially non-existent against Kansas. I think he only took 1 shot. He only scored, 3 points, had 3 rebounds. He basically didn't do anything in that game. And then the stat line was better last night. I like that they opened the game with a design lob for him to get him into the mix. And then he had a nice little flurry there where he had a couple of dunks, made the 3-pointer from the outside, he finished with 11 points. Not overly active on the glass, again, just 2 rebounds. Did block 3 shots, which was great to see, including 1 in transition where it was nice. He looked like he was getting more comfortable as the game went along. But Kelsey was saying, he does all the little stuff that doesn't stand out in the box score. One of those spiels where you ask that guy to set 1,000,000 screens, he'll set you 1,000,000 screens. And his ability to create space for those shooters, that's a big part of the reason why we were able to make 23 3-pointers. He's like, he made it seem like they still feel very good about Sananda Free.
I have it written down here. He sets really hard screens.
He does, which we have to have. But I think you still need more. Because if you don't get more, you have a game like you had against Kansas, where you're getting killed around the rim and you're not countering with anything on the other end. I kind of get the same vibe that you do, where it feels like Ali Khalifa right now at the center position is more productive in just about every way. Like, he's somehow more physical on defense. He's not a great defender, but he's willing to throw his weight around there. He certainly has the better skill set on offense. He had 5 assists last night. They both will shoot the 3 when they're open. I think Khalifa airballed his only 3, and Frew made his 1. But as of right now, like, you get the sense that Khalifa, and you should get this sense, just understands the game, has a better feel for everything and what you need to do at this level to be a productive center. And it's super evident.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a surprise, as he has a lot more experience playing college basketball. But athletically, there's just a couple things out there that, Frew should be able to, I think, to replicate the same aspect of what Ollie's doing, right? Defensively, going vertical, not fouling, having strong hands, right? Getting the ball slapped away at the top of the key with your back to the basket, in my opinion, is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So it's going to come, I think. He doesn't seem like he doesn't belong out there by any means, but there's the little intangible things, Mike. They've got to be quicker, actually. They don't. He has them. He's already shown them in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a hard, long rebound that he fought the hardest for, hard screen, he rolls, he knows when to pop, knows when to go set another screen after one screen, little things like that he's going to get quicker and better with. I do think that Zugris has James Scott hands, though.
Zugris is, I've gone from,
if the ball's too low, he's not getting it.
We had this sort of revelation in recent weeks. Just, it wasn't even a revelation. It was just us, I think, taking things that the staff said and trying to glean truths from it. And they kept speaking so glowingly about Zoo and the way he sets screens, the way he defends, and how beloved he is with the Greek national team. And I was like, man, this guy may play a little bit more than we thought. He may be capable of doing more than we thought when we first signed him. And now I'm back to like, okay, we know basically what we're going to get from Zugris. He doesn't give us much offensively outside of setting screens. He's a hustle guy. He rebounds. But he's limited, I think, in what he can bring to the table for this team. He'll be, the 11th guy on an 11-man team. If you need a jolt of toughness, if you need a jolt of energy, he can provide that. But the offensive skill set just, it's not there in a way that I think he'll be able to play moderate minutes against the best opponents in our schedule. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I love him. I think he's great. I think when he starts to get it together a little bit, he's going to be a fan favorite. But as of right now, there's just the deficiencies outweigh the positive that he brings to the table in a way that I think prevents you from being able to play him more than like 7-8 minutes a game.
And I like what he'll provide when Pat Kelsey is going to be willing to throw an Ali Khalifa and a Cason Pryor at the 4.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, right? Because then you're kind of asking him to do less. Those guys are going to be the ones in the action with as a big anyway. You kind of let them have what should be a mismatch defensively on the other side guarding the 4. So I don't mind it.
He's also a good, I think, emergency 5.
Yeah.
He'll be better
than we had last year.
I say he'll be better in that role than Kadir Traore was. And Traore did all he could. He's small compared to the guy that he was guarding in all those situations. Now, we got a little bit of news today. Jeff Goodman reported, he said via Pat Kelsey, Cason Pryor will not play in the season opener next Monday against South Carolina State. A little bit disappointing that we're already here and saying this. I think there was some. I mean, Cason himself a couple months ago at his summer camp talked to WHAS and said, no question about it, I'll be good to go when the season gets here. I'll be good to go for the Kentucky game. I'm on track. I'm ready to go. And that has not been the case. He's dressed out for the last 2 games. He's gone through warm-ups, but it's been known before tip-off that he wasn't going to play in either one of these games. And now, 5 days out from the season opener, we're already getting word that he's not going to play against South Carolina State. Are we getting concerned that this is just going to be something? Everybody heals differently. You are a miraculous healer. Kason Pryor, we're now at it's been over 10 months since he had this ACL injury. Hell, no, it's been over 11 months since he had this ACL injury, and we're not even back to a point where he can play a couple of minutes. When do we get a 100% Kason Pryor this season? It feels like it's sort of like late December at the earliest at this point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a mid-November would be nice, but feels like they knew he wasn't playing any of these games. I feel like if you're not even seeing him out there a little bit, so I'm not going to ask anybody to be rushed back. I think you built this roster with the intention of not needing to prioritize Kason Pryor, so I want you to go and make it work until he's ready. And when he's ready, that should just be a plus. It should just be an addition.
Yeah. We also got word officially from U of L yesterday that Mo Kamara will redshirt the 2025-2026 season. There were no additional. It was like a one-line sentence just saying that he intends to redshirt this season. No word on that. It is. I know they've said that they think highly of his potential. I also get the response from people that are like, in this day and age, what's really the point of redshirting or recruiting players that you feel like you might redshirt? Every roster spot is valuable. There's no guarantee that Mo Kamara is going to even choose to come back here and play next season. He may go somewhere else. He may hit the portal. I'm trusting them on this, that they feel like, one, he is somebody who can be a big-time contributor to this program at some point down the line, and two, he's someone that's going to stick it out and allow himself to be developed here over the course of 2, 3, however many years. They know better than we do. I'm hoping that this isn't as simple as we thought maybe we were getting more. We got him over here. He went through practice, and he's just not what we were hoping he was. So he'll redshirt this season and then be on his way. But it's a little bit disappointing not to have
even if that's
12
the
guys.
Case, yeah. He should be able to be a good defender out there. I think if push comes to shove and you need him, you have to use him.
And maybe they will. Saying that he intends to redshirt this season, if we have, God forbid, another November like last November where 3 primary contributors are all of a sudden gone, you may say, like, hey, this wasn't the plan, but we're going to need you to go out there and give us maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes every time out. Sorry, we're burning the red shirt. Do the best you can. But as it strikes me as if everything goes according to plan, we won't see Mo Kamara this year. He'll play a little bit next year, and then hopefully he'll be ready to go and be a primary contributor 2 years from now, which is, in this day and age, it's weird to think about because everything, like nothing is for certain. We don't know if any of these guys are going to be on the team next year. So talking about what a guy might be in 2028 feels very weird. It's not 20 years ago anymore, but that seems to be the plan with him moving forward. But we will not see Mo Kamara unless something unforeseen happens at any point this season. I do still feel, and it's early, these games don't count. This is just a dress rehearsal. Guys have given misleading performances in exhibition play time and time and time again over the years. I do find myself, after watching this team play a couple games, feeling like we need Kason Pryor to maybe be more of a factor than I thought was going to be the case 3 or 4 weeks ago. Do you feel the same way, or do you feel like we can get by with using him the way that we initially intended when we brought him back?
I think we should be able to get by.
Okay.
I think you have a lot of firepower out there on the front court or in the back court, Mike, and on your wing play. So it'll be tough, but I think that's what you brought this back. That's what you spent this money on this backcourt for.
I am, like I said at the very beginning, the good certainly outweighed the bad last night. The shooting is scorching. You're not going to shoot 50% from 3 every single night out, but this team has the ability to have a game or 3 this season where they just go absolutely nuts and shoot like 27 of 41 from 3. There will be a game this year. Like, this team will set that single-season record that they would have broken last night, and they'll probably do it by multiple shots. There will be at least one game this season where they go out there and hit, like I said, 27 of 43s or something ridiculous like that. I absolutely think that that's going to happen. So to see that last night was great. There are defensive issues here that I'm not sure. We can get better. We saw last year's team get markedly better defensively as the season went on, but we also had arguably the best on-ball defender in college basketball at the front of that defense. We don't have that luxury this season. There were some plays, especially early on, where like we're allowing Bucknell to go one-on-one and take what amounts to a lightly contested 12-foot jump shot. Every D1 team in America has guys that are going to knock down that shot with regularity. And I think we did a better job in this game at not falling for the ball fake than we did against Kansas. But we still fell victim to it. We got guys that are just dying to leave their feet at any motion, and that's got to get better. You just simply cannot do that. We've got guys that I don't think know the proper way to contest jump shots. Like, they're in good – Kenai still, man. I liked a lot of what I saw from Kenai last night, but there were multiple times where he's in good guarding position, he's moving his feet well, and he just doesn't properly contest the shot. You are long and athletic as hell. Get the shot up. Go block it. Get the hand up. Get somebody. Get a hand in that face.
Yep.
Make a play. Don't make it as hard as you can possibly make it for that guy to take the shot. You can't just be there. And we have a couple of guys that do that. I thought Woolley was active defensively, which was good. We know Kobe Rogers is a good defensive player. But those those starting three guards, Mikel, McNeely, and Conwell, we're going to have to get some improvement there. Or else we're going to have to beat a lot of good teams like 110 to 103. And that can be a recipe for success on a given night. I don't think it's a recipe for long-term success if you're looking to play as deep as you possibly can in March. We got a ways to go defensively, Roman.
We do. I think Adrian Woolley, I feel like effort-wise, strength-wise, kind of passes the test. Kobe Rogers obviously is a bit of a pest defensively when he stays on his feet correctly. Outside of that, though, I mean, Conwell plays hard, Mike, but not a lot of resistance when a ball handler puts the ball on the ground. And then Mikel, he's got the most active hands in the world, but does he have the body type to really go and contest guys getting to the rim? I'm not so sure.
The hands are active, but they're also not active with a purpose. He's just kind of flailing out there.
Yeah.
He just sort of like reaching and doing. I'm like, we got to know the difference between moving with a purpose and just moving to move. I don't. Like, a lot of times he's smacking at air and it's getting him off balance. That's got to stop.
That does have to stop. But I'm going to trust that Pat Kelsey and these guys are able to get them defending harder, playing harder, and maybe anticipating better defensively, because that was my thing, was a lot of the movements I saw defensively when Bucknell was able to get inside the three-point line, it was because our player didn't know what was coming. They didn't understand what the guy was actually about to try to do when it seemed obvious more times than not. That's all of this film and practice. So I think that there's got to be something to be said for practicing against your own team so much and then finally getting out there against two opposition opponents. But these are guys that have been playing basketball. So the defense is going to have to get better. We know a lot of these guys know how to defend, Mike. It's just a matter of putting it together and defending as a team, I think. I think maybe if you don't get that start getting some resistance from ball handlers, you're going to have to look into a zone.
I agree. I just don't think it's going to happen. He's not one of those coaches that's going to. You may see it for like a possession or two, but he's not going to entertain the idea of going to a heavy zone defense. Now, one of the things that's going to happen with this team, and it happened organically with last year's team, because you can get better defensively, but if you're not a great defender, especially when you're at the age of McNeely and Conwell and some of these guys, you're probably not going to be able to make that leap. What you can do, though, is just fully dive into the scouting report. And we had guys last year that were right after the one win. They're diving into video that night of the next team. Terrence Edwards they talked about it all year. He's like texting coaches about tendencies of the guy that he's going to be guarding the next game and how he thinks we can defend this guy, what we can do against this guy. We're going to need our players to have that same mentality because that can make up for a lot of deficiencies on the defensive end. Like knowing what the other side wants to do. It's not half the battle, but it's like 30% of the battle. If you know that a guy loves to take a certain shot and you feel like anybody can take that away from him. Anybody can force one player to the middle of the court or force one player to the left hand if they're not comfortable doing that. You don't have to be the best defender in the world to know. You just have to know what they want to do and take that aspect of their game away from them. We're going to have guys like I assume that Kelsey and company have recruited players that they know have that mentality. We're going to need them to prove it once we get into the actual season. These guys are going to have to be film junkies. That will help the defense immensely. And if they don't, then we're going to have to hit like 35 threes every single night against good teams to have a chance to win. All right, those are our thoughts. We're going to take your thoughts on the Game Day Men's Health text line after the break. 502-414-1450 is the phone number. Text in questions, comments, concerns, takeaways from the Bucknell win. Anything else that's on your mind as well, we'll take it after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus here on 1450 The Big X. Welcome back in. It's hour number 2 here of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. We talked, I mean, the primary focus from the outsider's perspective, maybe even the insider's perspective last night here locally, was the play of Michael Brown Jr. Rough go of it against Kansas, 2 of 15 from the field, 2 of 10 from 3. Last night, shoots the lights out. 8 of 11 from 3, 28 points, game high there, handed out 6 assists as well, appeared to be in control. He spoke to the media after the game last night and was kind of asked about bouncing back from that game against Kansas, and he said this: obviously I didn't play to my standards and the team standards looking back at it, but I think it was kind of needed just because it shifted my mindset back into you've got to continue to get better. Those days are going to happen in this game, and me and my teammates just keep instilling confidence in me. They keep telling me to be myself. I got to be able to touch the paint, make plays for my teammates. Making plays for them kind of gets me in a rhythm. pretty mature response from that kid. I don't think we expected anything else. Like I said, he's going to have more bad games this season. I don't think he's the type of player. He's highly visible. People nationally are watching him. People in the NBA who don't care about college basketball are watching to see what he does, seeing if he's going to be a legitimate top 5 pick. Obviously, the attention here locally is always going to be, you're going to be heavily scrutinized when you're the point guard of the Louisville basketball team. I think he's built for this. I don't think he's going, like, if he misses a game-winning shot against somebody.
Oh, yeah, he's built for this.
I don't think he's going to get it in his head. We know he's got the game.
He looked like he was mad out there, Mike.
Mentally, he does not strike me as a guy that's going to be like, oh, no, I'm moving down draft boards, or, oh, no, Louisville fans are saying maybe I'm not as good as some of the other freshmen out there. He has this, it's not even quiet. There's an air of confidence that doesn't need to be spoken. He just carries himself differently. And you could tell, like last night, he just stands out. It's the thing we talk about in football, where I was mentioning, like, if you took somebody to a game that doesn't know anything about football, you look at the defense and you say, who's the NFL guy? They all would point to, I think, Clev Lubin. If you took someone that doesn't know a ton about basketball, but said, hey, watch this for 5 minutes, tell me who looks different out there. Last night, Michael Brown was the guy that looked different. And it wasn't just that his shots were going in more than anybody else's. He's getting to the rim at will. He looks more athletic. He's making passes that nobody else on the floor can make. He stands out, and he knows that. So having that ability matched with that mentality, I know that we're going to need to see him do it against a quality opponent before people can fully buy in. And I say people here, again, both locally and nationally. I'll be shocked if he doesn't have a fantastic season for us. If this season doesn't go the way that we want it to, I don't think it's going to be because of Michael Brown Jr.
I don't either. I think he has everything we need a point guard to have, Mike.
Now, Pat Kelsey was asked about him after the game as well, and he said a lot of what we just said. That kid, he's way beyond his years in terms of maturity. He's unbelievably hardworking. He's detailed in every bit of his life and his game, and I've told you guys what a phenomenal teammate, human being he is as well. I mean, that cat didn't blink an eye. There's diminishing returns at some point. You make sure you go get some sleep, you get something to eat, but that's just his mentality. He's wired that way. I love hearing it. I think we all thought that was the way he was going to bounce back from some immediate adversity against Kansas, to actually go out there and see it happen and to hear about it from both him and his head coach is comforting for the remainder of the season.
Feels very good to know that they already have that established now.
Yeah. By the way, Test Groove is doing that thing again where messages are coming in blank. You see this?
Yeah.
There's like 17 messages that are just blank.
Yeah, there is. Send them in on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, you can text in the YouTube chat or just try to text them in again. Text Groove. Why? Trey's here. Get Trey on it. Help him figure this out. Boxcar Bob says, well, that was a lot more fun to watch than the Kansas game. I know there are still concerns about our front court play, especially defensively, and those concerns may very well be warranted, but I'm not worried because if Kelsey proved anything last year, it's that he's able and willing to adapt to give this team their best chance to win. I think the fact that we got so much better as the season went along last year is also comforting. Yeah, I mean, if Pat Kelsey recognizes a weakness in this team and the weakness is still there after the first 2 months of the year, I fully expect him to change, to mask the weakness and emphasize the positive aspects of this team. I think it's comforting. By the way, CBS had a ranking of the 25 best current coaches in men's basketball that came out today. Kelsey's on the list. Where do you think he was?
22nd.
20th. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
People like, well,
Who'd they have number one?
Who do you think?
Kelvin Sampson?
Number 2. They had Danny Hurley number 1.
Oh, duh.
Hurley 1, Sampson 2, Patino 3, Bill Self 4, and then your boy.
No way.
Matt Painter.
Oh.
5.
That's okay. Whatever.
They had Rick Barnes at 13.
Too high.
Kelsey, if you had asked any of us, would you accept people ranking Pat Kelsey as the 20th ranked coach in college basketball going into year 2? If If you'd asked us that question 16 months ago, we all would have been like, hell yeah, are you kidding me?
Definitely.
They got Otzelberger at 21. That's way too low, by the way. Way too low. Texter says, hopefully Louisville got a discount on Case and Pryor's NIL deal based off his injury. I wouldn't have brought him back. Also, Bloman skipped over my last text that I sent in during the show. He said, what's your group chat saying about Cameron suing J. Cole?
They said something about this.
Why is Cameron suing J. Cole?
I saw them mentioning J. Cole in the chat about something. I feel like J. Cole doesn't do anything that warrants suing.
Cameron filed, this only happened like
song Ready
2 hours
24?
ago. Yeah, Cameron filed a lawsuit in New York federal court against J. Cole, alleging the rapper breached an oral agreement from their 2024 track Ready 24 on Cole's Might Delete Later album. Cameron claims he provided lyrics and a verse in 2022 in exchange for Cole's promise to feature on a future project or appear on his sports talk show, It Is What It Is with Mace. But follow-up attempts from July 2023 to April 2025 went unanswered. The suit also names Universal Music Group and seeks up to $500,000 in royalties, profits, and song credits. J. Cole has not publicly responded. Well, I'm on Cameron's side. If this is
I
true.
am too,
Yeah.
but that's really weird of J. Cole.
Just ghosted him. Just took his verse, put it on a song, and then ghosted him. Don't love that.
To be fair, though, Cameron, you don't need J. Cole. You're doing just fine. Show is.
He's not really making much music anymore. You don't hear from Cameron musically anymore. It's more about the sports show. Riddler. Okay, Riddler's got a riddle for us today. After getting called out yesterday, he's like, let's go. He said, Riddler returns. I've been called out. Riddler versus Rutherford Season 2. It's a new bout. Heard hater. I'm the Riddlin' Colossus of Clout. The text line wants a rhyme. Now guess who it's about? A mixed review player is the subject today. 1 of 9 was his stat line, or is it another way? Jim Carrey obsessed over his school in The Office Season 7. This player is an absolute savior from heaven. Banged up and bruised, he played through the pain. Grit and heart, pins and needles, that was his way of play. He came from a brother of yellow and green with a goldfish bowl to our TV screens. Now here's my outro to taunt you buffoons. Monty, Louie, Tommy, and Cosmo were once his cartoons. Some of you cussed him, and deservedly so, but the odd draw delivered, setting up a postseason flow. I have no idea.
I don't even have a little bit of an idea.
I mean, Jim Carrey was on The Office for like 2 minutes. If that, it was like 30 seconds. He had like a quick thing where he kept talking about Finger Lakes, which I think is close to where Cornell is. And Cornell was featured heavily in The Office by Andy Bernard. That's the only, I don't even know if that makes sense. Will Scott transferred from Cornell, but none of this other stuff makes sense. He came from a brother of yellow and green. Will Scott didn't play through pins and needles. He also was never like 1 of 9. Was it like 1 of 9 children? Monty, Louie, Tommy, and Cosmo were once his cartoons. Man, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I might just have to throw my hands up here and say, yeah.
I feel like your dad knows.
I think I know who it is. No. You know who else had a lot of brothers? Noah Waterman. Does this make sense? Where did Noah play?
What was Jim Carrey obsessed over?
Finger Lakes, which is up there in New York. It's close to where Cornell is, which is why I went there. Noah's from New York. Noah
Came
Waterman.
from a brother of yellow and green.
Noah Waterman, Seneca Falls, New York. Is that close to the Finger Lakes? Seneca Falls, Finger Lake. Yes, they're in the same region.
He came to a brother of yellow and green. Is that something to do with Magic, the Gathering?
Maybe?
With a goldfish bowl to our TV screens. I have no idea what the goldfish bowl means. He's got the...
He played through pain. He was hurt a lot.
He's got the 2 brothers, the
He's got a lot of brothers, I think. But we know 2 of them.
Yeah, the Hooper, backyard hooping
I think
brother.
this is the answer. Because I don't get all the clues, don't get me wrong. But some of you cussed him, deservedly so. The odd draw delivered. We obviously talked about his voice a lot. Setting up a postseason flow. I mean, we went to the NCAA tournament. I don't know about the Goldfish Bowl. I don't know about the brother of yellow and green. That could be a Magic the Gathering.
Absolute savior from heaven, talking about the game winner against EKU.
Yeah. Also, I think his family was like super religious. One of 9. I think they had 9 siblings. Okay. I'm Noah Waterman's my final answer here. That's what I'm going with. I don't know all the clues, but there's enough there. That's my best guess. Okay. We'll see. Texas, glad to see the team respond yesterday in the exhibition. The defense has issues, but I think that is much easier to improve upon than shooting. We were 238th in the country in three-point shooting last year, and looking significantly better than that against a competent team has eased my primary concern going into the opener. I mean, we're going to be a good shooting team. I feel extremely confident about that. We don't have to be an elite defensive team to get where we want to go. We do have to be a good defensive team.
You can't be bad.
You can't be. I mean, you can't have. Best case scenario, obviously, you say we have the best offense in the country. You can't have the best offense and like the 61st best defense and expect to go to a Final Four or win a national title. You'd have to have. You're banking heavily at that point on having 4 consecutive really good shooting performances in the NCAA tournament, which, look, we saw firsthand against Kansas what can happen when you don't have a great shooting performance. We were 11 of 38, and really we're never in that game. So, yeah, the defense is going to have to get better. It doesn't have to be elite. It has to be good. This text didn't come through. Why does it do this?
Riddler texted in, well done, Mike, with the pull on Noah Waterman.
Hey!
Finger Lakes High School.
Okay.
His brother, Saffron Olive, yellow and green, is a notable Magic the Gathering content creator and has a YouTube channel called Magic the Gathering Goldfish, or MTG Goldfish. The name comes from his mascots and his tops in college basketball. And his stops in college basketball.
Oh. I mean, he played at BYU. He played at Niagara. I don't remember the other one. What was the other part of the tweet? 'Cause he's like Cosmo. That's a tough one to get. Props to the Riddler. Because I can tell you the
Monty, Louie, Tommy, and Cosmo were once his cartoons. Monty, Louie, Tommy, and Cosmo.
I can tell you like the Detroit Mercy or the Titans. Niagara is I think the purple, and BYU's the Cougars. But I couldn't tell you like the actual names of the mascots besides Louie, obviously. So that's well done, Riddler. That would have been very, very tough. I'm assuming Cosmo is the Cougar. I think that sounds right. But I have no idea about Tommy or Monty. Good one. Solid riddle. We love Noah Waterman on the show, by the way. He's welcome to come back anytime. Texter says, hopefully, we already read that. Texas, extremely fun game to watch last night from the offensive perspective. I wish the defense was tighter, but it's early. The jumpers were as wet as the rain outside in Louisville today. I'm not reading that last part. Don't talk about my mom like that or anybody's mom like that. Come on. We've got the problem that I think we have, and it's the same problem that Kentucky has to a lesser extent. We are not going to be tested in our first 2 games. Our first 2 games we're not just talking about classic mid-major preparatory opponents. These are going to be, South Carolina State should be one of the worst teams in college basketball this season. Jackson State won't be that much better. And it may be a little bit of a shock to the system to play those guys and then defensively to be ready for what Kentucky's going to bring to the table. By the way, the early KenPom projection on that game is Kentucky by 1. So I think we'll be...
Give me Cards by 3.
I think we'll be a slight favorite when the line comes out just because of home court advantage. But it'll be like a point and a half. And we'll see where the betting goes. A lot of it will also depend on how the 2 teams look in their first actual games. Kentucky plays a couple of nobodies, just like we do. So we should be in about the same spot. I can't believe, man, 5 days away, college basketball. Crazy. Texas says, Scootator said, I sent this yesterday and you left before you could read it. Take this as you wish, but the last 2 years after the letdown game, we have beat the next two teams pretty handily. 2023 Duke at home, beat them 23-0. Then VT at home 34-3. 2024 Pitt at home, we beat 37-9. And then UK on the road 41-14. This is the jolt of confidence that I'm looking for. You know what I don't like that's happening this week?
What's that?
I posted the thing about, we talked about it yesterday, how Virginia Tech, their official game notes are like, please don't call us Vatech. Do anything but call us Vatech. So, of course, we're all like, well, okay, well, you're Vatech. So I posted the Michael Scott meme. A lot of Office references today on the show, where it was, I'm just going to say Vatech even harder. And Virginia Tech fans have found it. But they're all like, don't worry, most of us don't care. Well, that's not fun. I want you to be mad about this. There have been a couple who are like, it does genuinely bother me, but most of their fan base has been kind of just saying, we don't care that much, really. There's some weirdos out there that get upset about it, but we don't mind. I'm like, at least play the game. Just give me something. Give me something to latch on to, or else I'm going to have to default back to Marcus Vick stomping on Elvis Doomerville. I don't want to have to go back over 20 years for motivation for this. Give me something. Call me an a-hole. Come on. Play the game.
Saying James Franklin to Virginia Tech's a done deal behind closed doors, Mike.
Are they really?
No.
Oh.
They're saying he's negotiating a contract.
I fully bought it.
Lead candidate, though, it seems like.
Is he?
Yeah. Everything I keep reading.
Well, good luck with that. If we're having good seasons, we know we're going to win that game. He may beat us if we're unranked. But if we're playing really well, I'd feel a lot more confident going into this game if James Franklin were the head coach of Virginia Tech than I do with whoever their interim is. What's his name? Bobby, whatever it is? Bobby Montgomery? Bob Montgomery? Chevrolet? Is that the Virginia Tech? What's his name? Now I'm completely.
You said it yesterday.
Yeah, Phil Montgomery. Thank you. Texture says, Cards looked good last night. Got the Cats in 2 weeks, and I got my tickets.
Nice. You going to the game?
I probably won't go to the game. I'll probably watch it from home. I don't do well with Kentucky games in person. It's too much. It's too much to handle. I also don't have a great track record. Football, I've been very lucky over the years with attending games where we've won. Basketball, not nearly as much. I was at the Edgar Sosa game, which was great. But I've been to 2 games in Rupp against them. We lost both. We got blown out in 05-06, the year after the Final Four. And then I went in 2019-20 when we lost in overtime. It was right there. That sucked. I was at the Josh Harrelson beatdown game. That was bad. I was at the game where the 2014-15 game where we were, I think, 3rd and they were ranked 1st. And we were always playing from behind. Kept it close, but didn't win. I think I've only been to 1 win over Kentucky in basketball.
I haven't been to the basketball matchup yet.
It's just such a different feeling. You get in that building and you're there and it's like 20, 25 minutes before tip off. The air is just so different than any other game. Yeah. It's this weird mix of just excitement, fear, hatred, annoyance. Like every possible emotion is just floating around. And it's not fun. There's nothing that's fun about it. It's really fun if you get off to a lead or if you win the game, but nothing that leads up to that moment is fun. It's just terrifying the entire time. Now, they probably have more fun with it than we do because we sort of expect the worst at this point, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle.
I'm ready for it.
You ready to go? Are you going as like a media member?
Yeah.
Ooh, good luck with that.
Hopefully I got some buddies with some tickets in there.
You have to try to keep those emotions in check. That's going to be rough. Text that didn't come through. Texas, do you all think this first-time texter, Cowboy, Texas, do you all think this is the type of road game on Saturday where we get those beautiful audible Cards chants on the TV? What's the visiting turnout looking like? From just asking around and looking on the message boards, it feels like everyone and their mama is going to Blacksburg. Are you going to hit the Cowboy? You got 5 seconds before I keep talking. 1, 2, 3.
boy.
Every time. I do feel like so producer Matt and his, I think, dad and brother, they're going to the game. And they were saying that they every single year have this deal where they try to go to one road game a season. And I think a lot of Louisville fans do this, where they can't go to every road game. They can't go to multiple road games, but they pick one a year, and they plan ahead of time. And we haven't played. We've been in the conference for 10 years. We haven't played at Virginia Tech, which is the weirdest thing of all time and the dumbest thing of all time. Virginia Tech is one of those. It's a destination stop if you're looking at great stadiums, great home crowds. Now, I don't think it's going to be what it would be if Tech was having a good year, but you still get to see them come out and do the Enter Sandman intro, and everybody bounces, and it's a cool deal. But their student section, there were some clips of it when they got down big last Friday. There was like 25 people in the student section for the second half. Nobody was there. The diehards are still there at midfield on both sides, but it was not a classic Virginia Tech home field advantage that you're used to seeing when they've got things rolling or even when they're just okay. There were a lot of empty seats there. The fans who will be there will be rowdy. I think you're going to hear some audible CARDS cheers for sure. I think that a lot of people are making that trip, and that's going to be awesome. We could use that little boost for sure, because I think this is a dangerous spot for us to be in this game. The longer this week goes, the more that I'm nervous. I'm getting nervous. What's your confidence level now? Midweek update. We got the initial update on Monday. 1 to 10. 1, no chance we win. 10, no chance we lose. Where are you right now?
I'm still at an 8. Okay. I haven't wavered up or down yet, Mike. I just keep thinking about how this defense has what it takes to give Virginia Tech a really rough day, especially if you can get a couple early hard hits on drones to where he's a little bit tentative now trying to find those holes. I really like our chances. I really do. I think the secondary is set up to where if he is in long pass situations, we'll be all over it. We've been prone to getting our hands on the football as a defense, so just got to win the turnover battle.
The line hasn't moved much since it opened at, I think it opened at 11.5. It's been 10.5 basically since last Sunday. Where it has moved, though, it's gone towards VT. It's 9.5 at ESPN Bet. It's 10 at FanDuel. Most still have it at 10.5, but there's been a little bit of movement towards the Hokies. I think that's fine. It's about there. The biggest thing is going to be our ability to slow down a quarterback who'd rather run it than throw it. We saw a little bit of that with James Madison. This kid is more explosive than both Barnett and Sluka. I think you're exactly right. If you can rattle drones early on, he has the tendency to kind of go into a shell and not use that athleticism, start thinking a little bit too much. And if you can turn him into a passer and you can get them to play from behind, then he's an interception risk, no question about it. And we've been a very opportune secondary against quarterbacks like that so far this season. We got to get Miller Moss going a little bit. Isaac Brown, keep doing his thing. We'll see about the injury report tonight. No idea if Duke Watson's going to be on there as anything other than out. If I had to guess, I'll say Duke Watson's just going to be listed as out. But Isaac and Kewan being fully healthy will be enough, I think, to keep running the ball. Texture says PRTG here. We have 2 more texts that just came in completely blank. Sorry. Send them again if you know who you are. PRDG here. Is Furious Styles the best father figure in any movie? Rudy's dad is close. Bleep Thomas Jefferson and Vatek, Cedric the Entertainer voice. Clev reminds me of my favorite Any Given Sunday character. Oh, the crazy guy? Who is Furious Styles?
Is Furious Styles?
Yeah. He's the dad. Oh, from Boys in the Hood. Okay. He is he's up there. Good father figure. I love Lawrence Fishburne, by the way, in anything. He's terrific.
He played something else at that age. He played another role that I thought was, well, it wasn't a father role, but
he's Ice Cube's dad in the movie, and I think he's only like 7 years older than Ice Cube when the movie's being shot. It's one of those situations where it's like you look back and you're like, he wasn't that old. He was not nearly old enough to be Ice Cube's dad. It was Ice Cube's dad, right?
Yeah. Or
I haven't seen Boys in the Hood in
I
like
think it
10
was Ice
years.
Cube's buddy's dad.
I think that's what, because he is the good father figure who saves him from going down the wrong.
I don't know if Ice Cube's dad was in the movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or maybe he was in jail. I've only seen it once. It was like 10 years ago. I need to watch it again.
It's a good movie. Yeah, no, he was Cuba Gooding's dad.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. It's been too long since I've seen it. Trey? Yeah. Texas, when Pryor comes back, we will be fine with no Zoo. We need Zoo to be in during the 4 white guys entered Egyptian time. Yeah, we've got that possibility for the first time. Also says, I need Hadley backing people down again like last year. I love Javon. I mean, you just know what you're going to get with Javon every time out there. He's an invaluable resource for this team. Couldn't be happier that he's back. All right, more from you on the text line, at least for the ones that are coming through after the break. Keep it locked right here. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical on the Big X. Clock hour here, the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, United Mechanical, our guy John Burke over there, they are your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Call them at 502-339-1133. Also visit them online at UnitedMechanicalInc.com. We got Breeders' Cup happening Friday and Saturday, Roman. I know you're fired up to bet on the ponies again.
It's time.
You had no idea.
Wasn't ready for that there.
Well, there's big time news breaking today. Breeders' Cup Classic, the richest race in the world. The favorite, Sovereignty, has been scratched today officially. Was some breaking news yesterday that he was dealing with a fever. He's out of the Classic now, which I hate. Sucks for the race. Not great. Was not my pick, though. My pick, we'll talk more about it when we get maybe to Thursday and Friday. I was going to get good odds on him. Felt good about it. Now he's going to be bet down. Don't love it at all. How are you feeling about Breeders' Cup, Roman?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Ready to go? Got any inside plays?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
I got some thoughts. I'll give some takes out tomorrow about Friday's action and Saturday's action as well. I saw this tweet going around, and it's an engagement farming tweet, but whatever. The responses have been fun. This person tweeted out, the most fun thing that you can do as a sports fan is have a truly mediocre athlete that you would die defending. When I read that, who comes to your mind? Who's a mediocre athlete, relatively speaking? You know, they're all obviously way more athletic than we are. But who's a mediocre athlete that you, for whatever reason, would go down swinging for?
I feel like I used to have a bunch, but now I don't really have that many anymore. Do you have one? Let me give this some thought.
If we're talking Louisville, Hodge Turner, we'll love forever. Barely played here, had a knee injury, was a big-time recruit for us. I loved Hodge Turner. Still love Hodge Turner. Wayne Blackshear, people kind of view as mediocre. I would argue that he was better than mediocre, but that's because I defended him constantly. Loved Wayne. Loved his effort. Loved his attention to detail. Thought he got hit. He was hurt by how overhyped he was coming into college. If we're looking at the professional level, I loved a baseball player. He played for the Braves for a while, played for the Orioles for a little bit. I think played for Tony Tarasco. Very average player. Fantastic guy. Loved him. Loved playing with him in video games. That was my guy. Loved Tony Tarasco. Eddie Drummond, maybe, in football, too. I was a big, at one point I referred to the Lions as the Detroit Drummonds because he was our only scoring threat in the special teams game. Not a great overall player. Pretty average in the grand scheme of things.
I was a Kendall Marshall defender.
If he doesn't get hurt, does John Calipari have a national title in 2012? Does John Calipari have a national title to his name ever if Kendall Marshall doesn't have that wrist injury that keeps him out of the NCAA tournament?
I have 3 or 4 in soccer. His names, though, I don't know. But
throw them out there. We have soccer fans.
Emre Demir, that's one.
Okay.
Young cat. I'm trying to think. I have one for U of L. I mean, David Levitch, of course. Not to call him mediocre.
Stop blowing up Levitch's head. Stop.
Does Damian Lee count?
He was first team All ACC.
Because I feel like
probably can't call him mediocre.
Him in the pros, I defend. Of those that are just random, I'm sure they'll come up.
All right, Game Day Men's Health text line still struggling mightily. We have, if you've had a Lazard guy see your text, it didn't come through. If you sent the text in and you feel like we're skipping it, feel free to send it again. Just because I don't know what's going on. We're getting a lot of blank text. But 502-414-1450 is the number there. Game Day Men's Health, this is not their fault. We love Game Day Men's Health. They're doing their damnedest to make sure that they're redefining a new era in men's wellness with no shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com and find out how they are defining this new era in men's health. Texter says, while we're awaiting Case and Pryor's return, do you think youth is a partial reason why our front court except Khalifa and Roots appears limited? Sonata Fruit's not young.
Neither is Zugris.
Zugris isn't young either, but they are inexperienced with the college game. I would argue. I think Kanai looks like he's playing younger than either one of those guys. I don't know. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for these games. I think we're good for Fru. I think now he knows what's expected of him. He knows what he can get away with physically. He knows what is going to be expected of him physically. He looked a lot better against Bucknell, as you would expect, than he did against Kansas. But as far as him, he didn't show anything that would lead you to believe he could be one of the better big men in the ACC. which was the hope, I think, when we signed him. But first impressions, a lot of times can be misleading, even in college basketball. So we're taking this for what it's worth. But we need him to play better against Kentucky. No question about that. Texas Mike, I think we played too fast. We almost moved too much on offense and just end up running into each other or being in the same open spot for less than 2 seconds. Same thing on defense. I appreciate the effort, but we don't need to be switching all over the place and hand-checking Bucknell center 30 feet from the basket. Just stand there with your hands up and wall off. Also, I agree with Ty Spalding's take that we sub way too often. Guys cannot get a feel for the game playing 2 to 3 minutes at a time. We played our best ball last year, playing our best guys 35 minutes and subbing extra pieces as needed based on matchups. I'd not be worried or complaining if our schedule wasn't so front-loaded, but we play Kentucky in 2 weeks. I mean, that's not going to change. I'm just telling, we can have issues with that, but that's not going to change. The reason why we played our best players last season and played them 35 minutes is because we had no alternative. We had 8 guys that were healthy and could help us. So all of those guys,
6 guys that belonged out there.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys had to play big-time minutes. That wasn't the way that Pat Kelsey designed last year's roster. He wanted to go 10 guys playing big-time minutes, a lot of guys playing more than 20 minutes, nobody playing more than like 25 minutes.
And he wants to be one of the fastest teams in the nation.
He does. I mean, his best Charleston team played at the second fastest pace in college basketball. That's what he wants to do. We played at a very high pace at the beginning of last season. Then when the injuries happened, as a good coach does, he adjusted, and he was like, we don't have enough guys to play this way. We're going to have to tone things down a little bit. We started taking fewer three-pointers. We started playing a little bit more half-court. We didn't play slow, but we certainly backed off the furious pace. But he's going to sub often because he wants guys going full tilt for 2 to 3 minutes, giving it all they've got, getting a quick break, and then coming back in and doing it again. Now, if it becomes a situation where some of the guys that we're bringing off the bench very clearly can't get it done against the best teams on our schedule, I think he'll adjust again. Like, I think Kobe Rogers can play, but I'm just using him as an example. If Kobe Rogers in our biggest non-conference games comes in and is a net negative, maybe you say, all right, we have to slow things down just a little bit because we need Michael to play 30-plus minutes just about every night. And we got to let him get into the flow of a game. We can't be subbing him out every 2 to 3 minutes. But early on, this is what Pat Kelsey's going to do, and I think he wants to do it for the entirety of the 5-month season. But we saw it last year. He'll adjust if he has to, but like you're not going to see that in the Kentucky game. You're going to see 10 guys playing big-time minutes. You're going to see a lot of early substitutions. You're going to see us playing very fast. There's no doubt about that. Texas, I listened to the post-game show on the station last night, and a caller spoke about the negatives in the Kansas game for 8 minutes that he admitted that he didn't actually watch. Thank you for only taking texts on the Big X. You guys are the best. How can you complain 8 minutes about a game that you didn't watch?
What are you even saying?
Just random complaints, I'm sure. We're not good. He's overrated.
But are you reiterating things you read?
You have to be.
Are you looking at a box
score? Looking at a box score, complaining about numbers on a piece of paper. Texas Mike is talking to Text Groove like he's Dino Gaudio. Text Groove. Come on, man. I love you, Text Groove. I don't love Text Groove. That's the issue. I hate Text Groove.
It's having some issues.
It's always having issues. It's having issues 35% of the time. We finally got to stop being terribly when it comes to loading in the 5 o'clock hour, and now it's just not sending in messages. That's his way to solve the problem. Like, oh, you're going to complain about how long it takes me to load your messages? I just won't get you a message at all. Roman Hader said Noah Waterman is the riddle. Roman Hader was ahead of us. I think he got it earlier than we did. Texas says Noah Waterman for sure. Everybody got it besides us. Brother of yellow and green. Could it be Kaysen from USF? No. Texter says, maybe a positive note on Frew. I looked at his box scores from the BBL last year, and he started slow and got a lot better as the season went on. His minutes, rebounds, points all progressed, So let him get a feel for the American basketball game, and I think he'll be fine. This is a deep dive right here.
Yeah.
Someone putting in the legwork for their text.
I mean, the energy and effort looked better in one game. I think the active hands were a little bit better as well. So, I mean, the one block after the three, that was a pretty cool sequence.
Yeah.
The block on the guard, not fouling there when he already has 2 fouls, I thought that was great. Got to do it against the ACC guards, though, and other top teams.
There are people who are just notorious slow starters. And it's not like they try. It's not like they are not fully locked in. For just certain people, like it takes them a while to get into the flow of the season. And it's every sport. There are guys who always have their worst month hitting in baseball in April and then always get it going by the time summer rolls around. They're slow starters in basketball, slow starters in football. And yeah, maybe Sonata Frew is just one of those types of players.
From what I can remember, James Scott looked very similar to this in the beginning of last season. Not really getting into the right spots yet, not really knowing where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Obviously an offense that in the beginning of the season isn't trying to utilize the bigs down low or anything in the half court. So kind of going to take time for them to look like they can be effective.
I do think we all kind of forget. Last season ended up being so much of a glaring positive, and it's always going to be remembered so fondly. I do think we kind of forget some of the big complaints we had in December when it did not look at all like a guarantee that team was going to go to the NCAA tournament. And we were all openly saying, like, James Scott can't be our 5 if this is the way that he's going to play. And we all were saying Terrence Edwards doesn't look like he belongs at this level. James Scott stepped his game up significantly. Terrence Edwards stepped his game up, I would argue, even more. And that team ripped off 18 wins in the ACC and went to the NCAA tournament. So it's October. I mean, that's what I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
The shooting is going to ebb and flow because everybody's shooting ebbs and flows. We know these guys are good shooters. They showcased it last night.
It'll look different in a month from now.
It will. Everything will look different because it's October. Like, there's nobody out there right now, maybe Kentucky fans, who are like, our team is fantastic. We're good to go. There's nothing wrong. And I'm joking, Kentucky fans. I know you beat Purdue, but I know that you also recognize that there are things that have to get better. It's October. Every single team in college basketball has glaring issues that will improve over time. It's just a matter of how much they improve over time that will define who gets to an elite status. Texter says, Pat Kelsey's lover here. Good job on the win, Pookie. Time to start hanging up that championship banner. Who's Pookie?
Pat Kelsey here in this instance.
Oh, because he's Pat Kelsey's lover. There was a random fan last night that, I'm going through the mentions. And 95% of the time when it's somebody who's like, congrats, you beat Bucknell, you guys still suck. It's a UK fan, right? That's how they all talk. There's this one guy who's like, Pat Kelsey beating up on a team that he's supposed to beat up on. What a shock. And I'm going through I look at his account just because I'm like, who is this guy? It doesn't look like a UK. If they didn't have the classic, like, BBN family Jesus in that order in the bio. It's an NC State fan. And his timeline, it's mostly pro NC State stuff. And then there's every now and then like a handful of just Pat Kelsey bashing. Like, what did Pat Kelsey do to you? What beef could you have as a diehard NC State fan against Pat Kelsey? He's making the country hate him, Roman.
That is weird.
I like it, though.
I'm not mad at this. I don't have a reason to hate Rick Barnes like I do.
It's fine, though. I'm good with it.
It's good for sports.
Yeah. Texture says, I think Virginia's luck runs out at Cal this week. There's no way they can keep up this bleep.
So does Lazard guy.
Lazard guy saying Virginia's going to... It has to happen at some point, right? Like, there's just... Nobody's this lucky. At least when they're not... There's like, they're fine. They strike me as a 7-8 win team, maybe 9 if all things go according to plan. But they don't have the talent to get to 11-1 with that much luck. Even with that much luck, they just don't. There has to be a slip up at some point. They're at Cal. They're at home versus Wake Forest, who's feisty right now, by the way. They're at Duke, and they're home versus Virginia Tech, who they're better than, but it is a rivalry game, and VT has owned that rivalry historically. I mean, there's no way they win all 4 of those games, right?
No chance. I shouldn't say no chance. There's definitely a way.
I think
they can win games that they shouldn't, like they did against us. But
I think they're dropping 2 of those games. At a certain point when their last 4 games, double overtime win against Florida State, when admittedly they were the better team. They deserved to win that game. Overtime win against us, when I think, taking my rose-colored glasses off here, objectively everybody would say we were the better team in that game if you watched it. Win over Washington State in a game where they were down 20-3 and won on a late safety. And then a win over North Carolina, who's terrible, on the road in overtime by a point, by essentially 5 inches on a 2-point play. Like, that has to run out. I think you also, as a team, when you have that much luck, you sort of get this mentality of we're a team of destiny and we can just do whatever we want, and the chips are going to fall where they are, and at the end of the day, something's going to happen, and we're going to be saved. A lot of times when you have that mentality and you're not that good, and you've had this type of run, when you do finally lose, it's not like a 17-14. It's you get blasted. I wouldn't be shocked if they go on the road and just get pelted by Cal this weekend.
Wouldn't be surprised, but
I'm calling it. It's happening. Cal's going to win by double digits.
But what you're saying, though, is that I feel like that also implies that they maybe, like, if they lose one of these early in the next 4, they probably lose a couple.
I think they're going to lose multiple games. I don't think they're winning at Duke. Duke's better than they are.
Duke's defense is bad, too, though.
They are. Virginia stinks. Virginia's not good. They're not good. They're driving me crazy. We should have won that game by 17 points.
We should have. We were on path to.
They stink. Stink out loud. Cal's going to win. What's the spread on that game? Whatever it is.
6.5.
In Virginia's favor?
I'm getting the Cal because Pitt plays Stanford out there too. They're both the underdogs. Stanford and Cal are, but
Virginia can't travel that far. It's a soft program.
I think Virginia's 4.5-point favorites.
That sounds about right. They're going down. They can't keep getting away with this. They simply cannot keep getting away with this. They are 4.5-point favorites. You're exactly right. It's right where it is.
So that means
Cal
Stanford is like a 16.5 or 14.5 point
money line
for Stanford.
Stanford is a 14.5-point underdog against Pitt. I'm glad we got Pitt when we did, by the way. There's a very real chance. So look at, we were talking about this last night in the group chat. We're talking some pigskin in the group chat.
Pitt's the Reds group?
No. Different group chat. Pitt is 6-2. Their only losses are to us, a nationally ranked team right now, by 7, and on the road against West Virginia, who's, not a good team, but whatever. They're still a Big 12 team that is, a rival in overtime. Now, I think West Virginia's like 0-4 in the Big 12, but still, it's a bad loss. But since then, they made the quarterback change, beat Florida State, blew out BC, blew out Syracuse, blew out NC State. If they can beat Notre Dame in a couple of weeks, they're at Stanford this week, like you just said. If they can beat Notre Dame in a couple of weeks, they'll be nationally ranked. And they'll go into that Georgia Tech game. They play 3 consecutive ranked teams to end the season. They're at home against Notre Dame, at Georgia Tech, versus Miami. All of a sudden, they're talking to themselves. Like, that win has the potential for us to look a lot better on our resume than we ever thought it was going to. And, oh, by the way, little old James Madison, 6-1 right now.
Handled business last night.
52-20 over Texas State last night. I think like 7-1 now on the season. They were already getting votes in the AP poll. There's a very real chance that win's going to be a ranked win for us when all's said and done. So we were all talking about if we go 11-1 and don't make the conference championship game, our resume may not be strong enough to make the playoff. The resume's kind of getting stronger as time goes on. We could have Miami, Pitt, and James Madison all be ranked wins when all said and done. Just saying. Just saying. But we could also have Virginia be like they've lost 4 consecutive games. How did you lose to those guys type of loss? I'm fine with that. As long as we get into the playoff with an 11-1 record. Texter says, Riddler again. I'd like some input on Riddle frequency during the season. I thought it was kind of too much to do weekly. That's why I pressed pause once the summer was over. P.S. Josh, do the right thing. I'm going with like 1 a month, Riddle. How about that?
Weekly sounds better to me.
Every weekly Friday was more of a summer thing.
Every Friday, Riddler.
I like once a month Riddles. That's maybe we can split the difference and give us like 2 a month.
Every other week.
Just on the inbox, Roman, U of L quarterback Miller Moss is one of 10 quarterbacks named to the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, the organization announced Wednesday. I think something's missing from this press release, Rocco. I think that some list needed to be on here.
Watch list.
I'm assuming it's like a mid-season watch list or something. The award honors the nation's top upperclassman quarterback who best exemplifies character, leadership, and excellence both on and off the field. Miller Moss. Would you like to hear the other 10 quarterbacks on this list?
Yes.
Carson Beck. Dark cloud. Josh Hoover at TCU. Good quarterback. Haynes King. That's your boy.
That's not my boy.
You love Haynes King.
I don't love Haynes King.
They're talking about him winning the Heisman, Roman.
I respect him now.
I respect him. Fernando Mendoza.
No comment.
Darian Mensah from Duke. Diego Pavia. Marcel Reed from Texas A&M. Brennan Sorsby from Cincinnati.
No.
And then Gunnar Stockton from Georgia. I mean, look at the official press release says the gritty Stockton has the number 5 Bulldogs competing for another national title. Do you have to call him gritty because his name's Gunnar? Are you contractually obligated to refer to him as gritty because he's not big and he's white and his name's Gunnar?
Because he takes hits because he doesn't know when to slide?
I mean, if he was 6'1", and played I'm going to do it. But say, if he was 6'1" and he played the exact same way, and his name was Jamal, would they be saying gritty in the press release? I'm just saying it. Absolutely not. There's no way. He's like another coach out there on the field. He's got the heart of a lion. Get out of my face with this. Get Gunnar Stockton off the list. Get him off the list. Miller Moss, though, one of 10 quarterbacks on the list. Has U of L put out a tweet about this? I want to see what the responses are.
Hopefully they know not to post it on Instagram.
Oh, no, they posted it on Twitter. 2 responses. It's somebody with the Tom Hanks really gif, and then another one that appears to be from somebody that I think I blocked or muted. I'm rooting for Miller in the most. I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for Miller because he's the quarterback of my favorite team. But I also want Miller Moss to go out there and just make all of us feel very, very dumb for being so critical of him. Like, Miller Moss, I want this weekend to be the Miller Moss game where he just lights it up. 415, 4 tutties, making deep throws, getting some confidence going. I want to see Miller Moss go out there and light it up. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think we kind of know who he is at this point. But I'd love to see it. Let's go. What if he wins the Golden Arm Award?
If he wins the Golden Arm Award, I'll buy his official jersey.
I think, this is a Louisville-based award. The very first winner, I remember it being Chris Redmond. I was like, are we just going to give it to the Louisville quarterback every single year? They kind of tried to. So him being on the top 10, I don't think he's going to be on the top 10 for any of the other quarterback award lists. But Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, we're good to go. What's happening with Jarvis Brownlee? Did he get traded? Well, he already has been traded once this year. No, I guess the Jets made a trade to get rid of Michael Carter, sending him to the Eagles because Jarvis Brownlee took his role. Props to Jarvis. By the way, there was news yesterday we didn't get to. Storm Duck, unfortunately, his season has come to an end. He's mostly been on the practice squad this year. He's been active for a few games. He's seen some reserve duty, but he suffered an injury. He will not play for the rest of the season for Miami, which sucks because he's probably going to be one of those types of guys that's fighting for a roster spot every year. For some guys, all it takes is that one injury. You get off the team, and then you never find a way back on. Hopefully that's not the case with Storm Duck, but unfortunately he will not play again this season. It does sound like we're going to have Lamar Jackson this weekend for the first time in about a month. He was a full participant at practice last week. I'm telling you right now, Roman, I know you disagree with me the last time we had this come up. The Ravens aren't out of it. That division stinks out loud.
So does that defense.
It does. But I don't trust the Steelers. I definitely don't trust the Bengals. The Browns are awful. If they can get hot and outscore a few teams, they could make the playoffs with a 9-8 record and win that division.
They could, yes,
or 10-7.
technically.
It could happen. They're not out of it yet. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, hour number 3. How about a little proper reaction, overreaction after the break? Also, more from you on the Game Day Mansell text line, 502-414-1450. Mike Rutherford Show, hour number 3 is next. Shout out to Louisville's, or I guess Ducky's own, Bowling Green's own. You played this before, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I've played this game.
Yeah. We love Cage on the show. It's the final hour of the Wednesday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus. Is it ever going to stop raining? This is just disgusting. It's supposed to be better weather on Friday for Halloween, which I hope. I know it's going to be a little bit chilly, but it's November. It's almost November. It's what you expect. But the rain has just been, it's gross. I'm ready for it to get out of here. Move on. We got an hour left here on the show. We'll take more texts from you guys momentarily on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. But before that, Roman, are you ready for a little proper reaction, overreaction?
Always.
All right, let's get to it. We'll start with some college football talk. Proper reaction, overreaction. Indiana and Ohio State will meet in the Big Ten title game, both with perfect 12-0 records. Do you want me to read the quick schedules?
Yes, please.
Okay. Only one of them plays a ranked team. I know every Ohio State hater/fan is like, ooh, I'm worried about the Michigan game because they can't beat Michigan recently. But they've got Penn State at home this weekend, at Purdue, versus UCLA, versus Rutgers, and then at Michigan, who currently is number 21 in the country in the last week of the season. Indiana, they've only got 4 games left. At Maryland, at Penn State, versus Wisconsin, at Purdue. Both teams figure to be favored in all 9 of those games.
Proper reaction.
If they meet on a neutral field in that game, who do you think wins?
Ohio State.
I do too. I don't think Ohio State's going to lose to Michigan this year. I don't think that's a concern. I think last year was the whole, we've got the better team, but Michigan has the mojo. They've got the added confidence. It's like the Louisville-Kentucky thing, where they had their last gasp of dominance. They upset us when they were supposed to be to lose to us handily, and then we righted the ship the next year and beat them by 37 or whatever it was. I think Ohio State does the same thing to Michigan this year. I don't think that game's close. I think they win handily. I don't think Michigan's very good. The only game that gives me a little bit of pause is, oddly, Indiana at Penn State. Maybe Ohio State humbles them enough this week for that not to be a concern. There's nothing, again, on paper that says that Indiana should have an issue with Penn State. I don't know. I got a weird vibe about that one. At the end of the day, though, I'm going with proper reaction. I think both those teams go 12-0 and meet in the Big Ten title game with the number 1 overall seed in the playoff on the line. Don't tell me that the championship games don't matter anymore, even if they're already in the playoff. It's a big deal to get that number 1 overall seed.
It is.
The other unbeatens in college football. Which of the proper reaction, overreaction? Well, first of all, let me read you the other 4. There are 6 total teams that are undefeated in college football right now. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia Tech, BYU, and Navy. Proper reaction, overreaction. At the end of the regular season, at least 4 teams will be undefeated.
Overreaction. I don't know if all of them can stay undefeated, Mike. BYU, granted, I keep betting on them, and I keep winning money, and they keep getting it wrong with them being these underdogs. They still haven't. What does their schedule look like? I have to see what BYU's schedule looks like.
BYU may, because the Big 12 is not very good. Now, they're at Texas Tech in their next game, who's number 13. I know they have to play Satterfield and Cincinnati, who may or may not be good. Well, whatever. Okay, here's the schedule. They're off this week. They're at Texas Tech, who's number 13 in the country, the week after that. Home versus TCU, at number 17 Cincinnati, and then home versus Central Florida. I don't think they do it. I think they get beat at some point. Navy has to play at Notre Dame, as well as at Memphis, and home versus South Florida. They're definitely losing one of those games, right?
Yeah.
Texas A&M.
They've got Missouri in Missouri. That's the 19th team in the nation.
It'll be a tough game.
South Carolina in Texas, Samford in Texas, and then they've got
Big Brother.
Yeah.
On the road.
Is that a neutral game? Yeah.
No, it'll be at Texas. Day after Thanksgiving.
I wouldn't be surprised if Texas,
I could
that defense has picked it up and is playing at a really high level by that point.
I could 100% see that.
And them losing. I think they have the best chance, though.
What about Georgia Tech? I mean, at this point,
I just don't like that football. I don't like that brand of football.
I think that they have a really good chance to run the table in the ACC. I don't think there's any way in hell they beat Georgia.
No way.
I'm going overreaction as well. I think the 2 teams in the Big Ten that we mentioned are going to go undefeated. And then if there's a third, it's going to be Texas A&M. That's my guess. I think BYU gets beat. I think Navy gets beat. I think Georgia Tech definitely loses to Georgia. And at the end of the day, it's the two Big Ten teams and then Texas A&M. Whoever wins the Big Ten title, they get the 1 seed. If A&M wins the SEC championship game, they get the 2 seed. And the loser of the Big Ten title game, I think, gets the 3 seed. And that's the way that it all shakes out. Now, if A&M loses in the SEC title game, they may go like Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, if the game's close in the Big Ten title game. Topic for another day. By the way, the first CFP rankings coming out next Tuesday. Well, it'll be happening, I think, in the middle of basketball, like right at like 8 o'clock. So there we go. Proper reaction, overreaction. Georgia Tech, the real deal after a convincing win over Syracuse this past week. Not only are they in position to make the playoff, they're a team that can do damage in the playoff.
Overreaction.
I think it's an overreaction. I don't buy Georgia Tech at all. Are you buying Georgia Tech at all?
No.
You hate Haynes King.
That brand of football, well, while it's fun to watch while they're doing it, isn't really consistently going to beat big teams, I don't think. So, already almost lost to some not big teams. Only a matter of time.
Proper reaction, overreaction. Auburn shouldn't be waiting. They need to fire Hugh Freeze right now and join the crowd.
Proper reaction.
I think it's the proper reaction, too.
I don't want to say so, but I think you can go get someone better right now.
If everybody, so Auburn is 1-4 in the SEC. They're 4-4 overall. Still could make a bowl game. They've got Kentucky this week, who stinks, and they play Mercer. Their other 2 games are at Vandy and versus Alabama. They could go 6-6 and make a bowl game. That's not the standard down there. They've lost 4 or 5.
Isn't this like his second year?
I think it's his 3rd year. But he was sort of like not a wildly popular hire. This is his 3rd year. He went in 2023. They went 6-7. In 2024, they went 5-7. This year, they're on pace to be like 6-7 again, 7-6. You know you're going to be competing. Like they're going to do this. They're going to fire him, and you know you're already competing with LSU and Penn State and Florida and a number of other high-profile programs. Go ahead and get the process going. There's one thing to do back channel talks, but it's different to actually be out there and be actively looking. I don't understand. If you're going to do it, and all signs point to them doing it, go ahead and join the crowd. Nobody else is waiting. Why should you? Proper reaction, overreaction. The Iowa Hawkeyes are the quietest CFP contender in college football right now. They're lurking, Roman.
Are they, though?
Kind of. Iowa, they only have 2 losses this season. They're both to ranked teams. They lost at Iowa State, who was 16th at the time, narrowly. They gave Indiana the best game of anybody this season, lost 20-15 to them. They play Oregon at home. They're at USC, who's nationally ranked, and then they should be able to beat Michigan State and Nebraska. If they go 10-2, with those being their only 2 losses and wins over Oregon, USC, Penn State's whatever, I guess at this point, they'll be right there in the mix as a contender to get one of those at-large bids. Speaking of, we could go for if you want to look ahead and play the game of who we need to root against Iowa against Oregon this weekend. Oregon's going to make it regardless. We need to go ahead and knock Iowa out of the mix. I think they're kind of lurking. I'm going to say it's a proper reaction.
I'm going to say overreaction.
You don't think they're for real?
No.
I'm fine with that.
They're better than they were last year. Still don't think they're good enough.
Proper reaction, overreaction. Pitt true freshman quarterback Mason Heinschel will be a household name this time next year.
Overreaction. Not household. He'll be notable. People will talk about his stats. But I don't think he'll get even like Heisman dark horse shouts.
Are you ready for something?
Yes.
I'm saying proper reaction.
No.
I mean, this kid.
He threw a thing to us, Mike.
No, he didn't. That was the redshirt freshman. He didn't play against us.
Oh.
This is the true freshman they were trying to save.
I think it's the same kid.
No. Not the Rodriguez kid. He didn't play against us. They threw him out there the game after us as a starter. And he has been lighting it up against NC State last week. freshman single game record, 423 yards passing, and also had an 84-yard touchdown run. He's now in 4 starts. He's tossed for 1,207 yards and 9 touchdowns, and has thrown for at least 300 yards passing in all but one of those games. I could not be happier that we played Pitt when we did, because that dude is, I think he's very good. Very good. Household name maybe a little bit far, but I think he can get there. The question is, does he stay at Pitt?
Oregon comes calling.
Yeah, I mean, it's a genuine concern. I think that's probably why they didn't want to play him this year. They're like, let's play Holstein and then unleash this kid on the world in next year. Proper reaction, overreaction. We saw this guy firsthand a couple weeks ago. Malachi Toney isn't just the best freshman playmaker in the country. He's the best playmaker overall in college football.
He's the best player in college football.
Woo! That's high praise.
Until Jeremiah Smith shows me he can do it game in and game out like Tony's doing, Mike.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong.
And the Ryan Williams kid, I mean, I like him more than the playmaking ability of most quarterbacks as well. Yeah, proper reaction. He does it all. He can quite literally do it all.
I'm going to say proper reaction, too. Kid's unbelievable. Proper reaction, overreaction, NFL style. Suddenly, the Kansas City Chiefs are once again the team to beat in the AFC.
Betting them now, Mike, they're winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, gosh. So you're saying proper reaction?
Proper reaction.
I'm saying proper reaction, too.
They're winning it all.
I mean,
let me put a couple bucks on that right now.
The Bills are a problem, but they've got their own issues. Lamar's hurt. I can't get there with the Colts.
Oh, they're the favorite to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's people. We've seen this act before. They're 5-3, sure. The Chargers are 5-3. The Broncos are 6-2. The Colts are 7-1. On a neutral field right now, who would you bet on in Chiefs versus Colts?
Chiefs.
I mean, it's not even a question. And all due respect, every Colts fan listening, I've seen the unbridled enthusiasm from Colts fans. You deserve to have unbridled enthusiasm. If your team was playing against the Chiefs on a neutral field, I would bet the Chiefs by like 10. They don't lose those types of games to teams that they have more talent than, and they're still the most talented team in that conference. Absolutely. They're the team to beat in the AFC. Proper reaction, overreaction. I already kind of gave this one away. Lamar Jackson, back to being 100%, will lead the Ravens to an AFC North divisional title. They're only 2 games back.
I love him, Mike. I have to go overreaction as it stands.
I'm saying proper reaction, damn it. Proper react.
I want to be wrong. I hope everyone knows that.
The Ravens they're winning the division. Proper reaction, overreaction. Caleb Williams is showing signs that he is going to live up to the hype of being the number 1 quarterback or number 1 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. He's looking better.
He is showing those signs, yes. I don't think that Chicago will allow for him to do that.
Ben Johnson, though.
It's better.
The offense is good. Ben knows what he's doing. He might throw for 30 TDs this season. I think Caleb Williams is going to be fine. He's cutting down on the Caleb Williams stuff. I think he's showing signs that he's going to be pretty good. Proper reaction, overreaction. J.J. McCarthy is bad. We know Carson Wentz is bad. Is J.J. McCarthy bad?
Proper reaction.
I think it's proper reaction, too.
He's weak.
Vikings made the wrong call here. Getting rid of Sam Darnold, big mistake. Wentz stinks. I don't think McCarthy's going to be any good. Vikings are doomed. Doomed for at least 2 to 3 more years of not building around what should be a good defense and having some key pieces around.
And
they got
the
nothing.
Best receiver in the game.
They got nothing. Proper reaction, overreaction. At the end of the day, I mean, you kind of gave away a little bit here, too. We are primed for a Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs.
I don't like the Eagles.
Reason enough.
Chiefs, yes. Eagles,
I'm saying overreaction just because I'm not going to make a prediction. One of those teams didn't win the conference. One of those teams will fall in the playoffs. It's just it's too perfect. I like where the Lions are. I know I'm not objective. I like where the Packers are right now. I like, I still think the Bills can give the Chiefs some problems if they meet up. Yeah, they're not looking. They can get better, though.
Yeah.
They can turn it on kind of like the Chiefs used to. The problem is they don't have the history of doing it like the Chiefs do. I think the Rams are also sneaky in the NFC. They're playing really good football. We'll see. I'm just going overreaction for right now, but I get why those are the two favorites in their respective conferences. By the way, we have college football again tonight. We mentioned James Madison winning last night and moving to 7-1. We got CUSA Wednesday tonight, Roman.
Who we got?
Jacksonville State 3-0. The Cox on the road taking on Middle Tennessee. They're just a 3.5-point favorite. And then at 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, FIU on the road taking on Mo State. Former Louisville assistant Ryan Beard, once again, leading Missouri State to a 4-3 and 2-1 record in his first season in the FBS.
3.5-point favorite.
Just 3.5 out there. There's a couple of those are two small lines.
I like both of them.
I do too. I feel like they're trying to trap us a little bit here. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. Let's go back to the text line here again. If you haven't had your text come through, resend them. Text Groove's acting up. They don't want you to have your thoughts heard on the radio. We do. Text Groove doesn't run this show. Text Groove is trying to take over. This is like Hal from 2001: Space Odyssey. He's trying to take over the show. We can't let it. We're pushing back against technology. Keep texting in. Texter says, have you seen UCLA's non-conference schedule? It looks like Mick Cronin is trying to game the system. They play. I know they play Bellarmine. I don't really know what you mean. I mean, they play. A handful of bad teams like everybody. Eastern Washington, Pepperdine, West Georgia. Then they play Arizona, which it feels weird to call that a non-conference game, but it is. Sac State, Presbyterian, Cal is a non-conference game now. They're playing them. Gonzaga is a non-conference game. That's a good opponent. Arizona State is a non-conference game. Decent opponent. And then Cal Poly and UC Riverside. It's not a great non-conference schedule, but it's not terrible. It's more kind of in line with what coaches used to do. They've got 3 very good opponents in the non-conference, 2 kind of okay opponents, and then like 7 bad opponents. That can be fun. I'm curious how our guy Sky Clark's going to play out there. Donovan Dent is running the show, and he's been there standout performer. He had like 18 last night in the first half of their exhibition game, and Sky Clark, naturally a point guard, probably going to have to play off the ball. Kind of curious to see how he handles that.
Help him.
I wouldn't know his thoughts because I'm still blocked on Twitter. Sky Clark and LaRue County. I actually harbor no feelings of ill will whatsoever towards Sky Clark. LaRue County can go to hell. By the way, they lost again in football last week. They got the retweet. Right in the middle, like Louisville's getting blasted by Kansas in exhibition play. And I loved my timeline. It's like all Louisville fans just complaining and UK fans gloating. And then me just retweeting LaRue County's loss to Hart County for no apparent reason. It was funny to me. That's all that matters. I giggle every single week when I do it. It's my favorite thing. Texter says, sorry, Chris Plummer, your tweet didn't go through. Not censoring you, I promise. Tweet again. Boxcar Bob said, as much as I would love to believe everyone who is saying our front court will be fine once Pryor comes back, I think that's assuming a lot. I don't doubt that he can improve things, but thinking he'll fix our front court woes after coming off a serious injury and playing only a handful of games last season is assuming a lot. I don't think he's just going to miraculously fix the front court. I don't think he's that. I mean, he's not a natural center. He's a natural 4 who he's very active defensively. He's not a great defender. He's a good shot blocker. He's not a great shot blocker. Offensively, his skill set will help. But I don't see many Louisville fans saying this. Maybe there are some. I think everyone says that he's going to help. But I don't see anybody who's like, just calm down about the front court. When Cason comes back, everything's going to be just fine. I think there are valid concerns down there, even if Pryor gets to 100% and comes back and helps out. We can be better with Cason down there. I think we are going to be more reliant on him than I was hoping we were going to be. But I don't think that he miraculously fixes every problem that we've seen in these first 2 exhibition games. What do you say, Roman?
I don't think he fixes much of anything, Mike. He's a perimeter player first at heart.
Yep.
And I think defensively he will fix some stuff just because that's an extra body that has some size, that has experience playing at this level. But he's going to have to get his twitch back, right? And that's going to take some time. Even once he gets back out there, we're not going to get the Kaysen that we had before he got hurt. It'll be another month or so before we get that Kaysen. So offensively, yeah, you'll get a genuine floor spacer, someone they actually have to respect when you do play him at down low. But I don't think it's going to change a whole lot offensively. Defensively, yeah, there should be a little bit of an improvement.
I actually agree. I wish I could say more, but I wish I could feel more confident. But yeah. I'm with you on that. Texas riding around with that same shotgun that shot Ricky. It's Vince Staples. Didn't get your back wet. It's kind of a crazy good Boys in the Hood reference made by Vince Staples. North. One of my favorite opening lines to a song ever, Roman. Which you thirsty, please grab a Sprite. Just sets the tone right off the bat. I ain't never run from nothing but the police. Texter says, I would die for Honest Mahmoud, to a lesser extent, Mott Stockman, too. We're talking about the average athlete that you would just had an irrational love for.
Loved Honest.
I still do love Honest. Honest, super good guy. Very, very smart. Doing great things in Egypt. Fun guy to talk to. Obviously, I loved Mott's as well. God, all these texts just not coming through. I'm so sorry. Texas, in the mid-2010s, I would have died for Stephen Van Treese. Love SVT. Vanilla Godzilla. The man. Now crushing it as a realtor with his wife. Proud dad. I'm a big SVT guy. Have I ever told you my sitting in front of SVT's dad story, though?
No.
So we went to the big Monday game against Villanova. If you remember this game, it was the game that took, it was Van Treese's freshman season where we struggled a little bit. It was the 09-10 season where we ended up losing to Cal in the first round. And big Monday against Villanova, there were a million fouls called. The game started at 7. It's supposed to be over at 9. It ended at 10-15. It was terrible, terrible game. But I sat in front of, I got tickets from somebody at U of L, and I sat in front of Stephen Van Treese's dad and Ellis Miles. Were sitting next to each other. So obviously they're talking.
That's cool.
But Van Treese's dad was very much doing the my son's a superhuman dad thing. So we had lost to Kentucky a couple of weeks earlier, and that was the John Wall team. And his dad is kind of implying to Ellis Miles that the reason we lost to John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins is because Stephen didn't play more, which I love Stephen Van Treese. But freshman Stephen Van Treese isn't helping that Louisville team beat that John Wall team. And he's like, the last time Stephen played against Wall, he pinned him on the backboard. And I'm like, oh, God, this is just, this is not good. And, and then Ellis Miles, who also is not short of propping up his own accolades, he's like, we haven't had a legit rebounder since me, and these guys are just going back and forth, and I'm like, this is high theater. It was incredible. SVT's dad just talking about SVT, Ellis refusing to acknowledge anything and just talking about himself, just back and forth the entire game. It was wonderful. But yeah, he's like last time Stephen played John Wall, Stephen pinned him against the backboard. My buddy is kicking me as this conversation. Are you hearing this? I'm like, yeah, this is incredible. I'm not paying any attention to the game whatsoever. I'm just listening to SVT's dad. But SVT is the absolute man, and his dad is also the man. But early on, I think, like a lot of dads, thought maybe his son was capable of a little bit more than he was. Texas, I have a UK friend who is now telling me that Cutter is better than Miller. What do you all think? Of course he is.
Cutter's not on the United Golden Arm watch list.
You know where Miller Moss is from? California.
Pretty boy.
The land of nuts out there.
We play real football down here in Kentucky.
He can't take a hit. Kidding me? St. John Bosco, more like St. John Henderson County. You kidding me? Put those boys up against Frederick Douglass. See what happens. Come on now. Come on now.
Come on.
He ain't got the heart. He ain't got the heart to play in the SEC.
He can't run the football.
Cutter looks better. Cutter also just doesn't have as much arm strength, I think, as he needs to be a very capable SEC quarterback. I would love it if Cutter just lights it up at the end of the year. Obviously not against us. And then UK fans get all excited. Like, they hire an offensive-minded coach, whoever that winds up being. And then Cutter's like, I'm gone. Cutter transfers to Arkansas or somewhere. And it's just like, why the hell would I stay in Lexington if I've got a future? I know I'm a local boy, but I don't want to be a local boy anymore. Get me the hell out of here. Let's go. Honest answer. Do you think Cutter Boley's better than Miller Moss right now?
Not better.
I don't think he is.
But they're not far off either.
They're not. I mean, it's hard to say too. I mean, we have an offense that's so quarterback conducive. We clearly have a better running game, which takes pressure off of him. He's facing a ton of pressure every time he's back there. I would say Miller Moss is better right now, but I would be curious to see like what Cutter Boley would look like in our same system. You know?
Yeah, I would.
Let's take a break. We come back.
Got a cannon.
5 o'clock hour. 5 o'clock hour is up next. We'll take text from you guys. We'll make some predictions for the night ahead in sports, and then we'll call it a day. It's the Mike Rutherford Show. Wrap it up next on the Big X. Cam Newton getting into it with the mascot over the weekend.
He wanted to fight him.
Well, the mascot keeps going after him. He's like, don't play with me. At a certain point, like, back off him. But so there's a still frame going around. It's become kind of a meme of Cam Newton where he's like hauling off and about to just deck this, whatever it is, shark or something. And I guess bear, like he's not punching him, but he's like, he's geared up for the open-handed slap. And he slaps the hell out of the mascot's head. And I don't really blame him. But now, Danny from the podcast, he's using the meme for everything. Like, every time somebody says something that he doesn't agree with, he just is posting the picture of Cam Newton about to smack the mascot, and I laugh every single time. I think I'm going to start using it for everything now, too, if you get upset. Anyways, just the whole video, I watched like 5 times, where he's like off camera. They're trying to de-escalate the situation, And he's just like, don't play with me now. Don't play with me. I'm like, leave Cam Newton alone. Stop. It's the 5 o'clock hour of the Mike Rutherford Show, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, if you've been hurt in an accident or on the job, call our guy Tony Collier at the Collier Law Firm. Tony Collier and the crew, helping out injured Louisvillians for the past 10 years now, over a decade of success. They know what they're doing. To find out more information, visit their website, CollierLawFirm.com, COLYER lawfirm.com. You can also call them directly at 502-736-8141. Hurt in an accident, hurt on the job, call your law firm. And another buddy texted me during the break. And it's a good question. We were playing proper reaction, overreaction. And he said proper reaction, overreaction. The Louisville basketball team will have more losses than the football team after December 17th. And it got me thinking, we haven't really, we're sitting here at 6-1 in football as we get ready for November. And I wrote a thing today just kind of talking about savor the moment. It's not, this isn't a given. Playing meaningful November football is a rarity for almost every program in college football. Let's savor this. Let's enjoy this. Let's make the most of it. Let's try to make this as special as possible. But we haven't really revisited, you and I, our preseason predictions for this team. We both had us going 9-3. The odds of us going better than 9-3 are probably a little bit heightened based on the schedule not looking quite as strong as we thought it was going to be going into the year when we looked at the 5 games in November. But I haven't asked you, if you had to revisit that take, are you saying more than 9 wins now? Right at 9 wins still? Have you moved off of this?
I have a little bit. Granted, I think that we have a quarterback that was the reason for the take at the beginning of the season, Mike. A quarterback that when the game's on the line, his decision-making will waver, and that can lose you games. That position's just too important to have someone that doesn't know what to do every single time in any type of play. I do think, though, that our schedule and all of the players around him have shown that they can be even more productive than I thought they were going to be. And that, with the schedule, Mike, kind of equates to 10 wins minimum for me.
This is going to be another one of those where I'm hoping to be wrong.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, if you ask me right now, do you budge off of your 9-3? Because I said we would be 6-1 going into November. I picked us to lose to VT and Clemson. I'm not necessarily holding on to those two particular predictions. I would kind of stick with 9-3.
Now we put the other 2 losses on there, though.
Yeah, I mean, I might feel totally differently if this team goes out there and plays a great game in Blacksburg. I think we're all just kind of waiting. Like, I'm not, disappointed is probably too strong. At this point, it's all about just win the game. Find a way. We beat Boston College by 2 touchdowns. Winning football games is tough. They did what they had to do. I was hoping to see us go out there and kind of throttle somebody from start to finish who's not very good, and we didn't do that. And while it's not worst case scenario, we avoided the clunker and all that stuff, it did sort of leave me feeling like this team, like they've got 1 or 2 performances like that left in them that they're not going to be as fortunate to survive, and that has me concerned. But we change on a week-to-week basis. If they go out there and they play that type of complete game this weekend against Virginia Tech, maybe they are built for this month. Who knows?
The lack of a deep play threat outside of Isaac Brown's feet kind of feels like that's not. It's hard to win a lot of games when you don't have that last final factor in your offense.
Well, let's answer the question from the guy, from my buddy. So by December 17th, we will have played in basketball Kentucky, Cincinnati, Arkansas, Indiana, Memphis, and Tennessee. Do we think the basketball team will have more losses than the football team at that point?
Easily. Easily.
I mean, if I'm saying we're 9-3 in football, I hope we don't have 4 losses. I know it's a murderer's row, but I hope we don't have 4 losses in football. I mean, in basketball. I'm going to say they're even. I don't think we run the table against that schedule, but I think we should have fewer than 4 losses by mid-December. If we don't, we're kind of right back where we were last year, where you got to be pretty damn good in the ACC.
I don't know.
Get a good seed.
I mean, Tennessee, Memphis, Cincinnati, Indiana, and Kentucky, and Arkansas. I'm That's 6 games.
Yes.
3-3 is my expectation in those 6.
Which would put us even with football if we're saying we're going to go 9-3. If you're saying
assuming we don't
go,
drop one to like a Eastern Michigan or an NJIT.
Yeah, it'd be a disaster.
Shouldn't.
I mean, I think if you go,
or even Cincinnati. Well, I guess no, that's one of the wins in that 3. So.
Yeah, if you go 3-3 against that schedule, I feel like you're just meeting expectations. If you go 4-2 or better, you're exceeding expectations. Like Ken Palm right now has us losing 3 of those games. He has us losing to Kentucky, he has us losing to Arkansas, and he has us losing to Tennessee. Now, keep in mind the losses to Kentucky and Arkansas are both by 1 point. So those games are essentially toss-ups. He has us beating UC by 4, beating Indiana by 5, beating Memphis by 10, and then losing to Tennessee by 4. So
Virginia Tech, California, Clemson, SMU, Kentucky, the way that those teams are all playing right now, that shouldn't be 2 losses in those games.
I agree. I'm just saying that I don't have an extreme amount of faith that they won't be 2 losses. I'm going to say we push. I'm going to say both teams, whatever the number is, on December 17th, basketball and football, the same number of losses. Hopefully it's like, 1. Hopefully it's none for basketball and they win. But if it is an even amount, hopefully it's football's 11-1 and basketball's like 9-1. It's a good question, though, with varying answers. Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. We've got about 15 minutes left for you to have your thoughts heard on the radio. If you've sent in a text and it didn't come through today, our deepest apologies. Text Groove is trying to ruin the show. We're not going to let him do it. I don't know if it's a male, but we're calling. It's easier to be mad at a male for something like this. We're not going to let him do this. We're going to keep fighting. Keep sending in the text. If you haven't had yours read, it probably means it didn't come through. Resend it. Let's go. Texter says, UVA has had way too many overtime games for it not to be luck, or maybe Tony Elliott paid the rest. I think both things can be true. I think Tony Elliott's done a remarkable job down there. I think they're a good football team. They're not nearly as good as – they're not the 15th best team in the country. They shouldn't be 7-1. They're fine. They're like a 7-5, 8-4 type team. Eventually, that typically catches up with you. And I think they get caught up with in November.
Calls were made.
But we also just gave them that's the most frustrating thing about that game is it's not like last year where you could point to the overturned call in the SMU game and you're like that changed everything. Couple calls in the Notre Dame game. Miami, you tip your cap and say Cam Ward was just superhuman. They scored 52 points. The Virginia, we just beat ourselves. There's nobody to blame but us. We gifted them 17 points essentially and still had a chance to win in overtime. I know we can get upset about the overturned call on Isaac Brown's catch, but at the end of the day, if you don't just have one of 3 catastrophic plays in that game, you win. And for us not to win, despite them having like 34 yards of offense or whatever it was, is just super, super frustrating. If it does wind up being the difference between us not going to the playoff and going to the playoff, it'll be an all-time just gut punch. Just will last forever. Texas, first-time texter. Luke Hancock is the only real Louisville fan answer for mediocre athlete that you would die defending. I don't think Luke was mediocre, though. Mediocre, I think, is like an average player. Luke was better than average here, without question. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he proved that his senior season.
One of the best shooters in the country.
I mean, great shooter, obviously. But he averaged, I want to say 14 points or so for that 2013-14 team. And by the end of the year was kind of our, besides Russ, most reliable offensive performer. Well, I'll take it back. I mean, he averaged 12.3 his senior season, 8.1 in our national title winning season. Obviously rose to the occasion in the Final Four. Yeah, I would say that he's better than mediocre. Texture says, what is your prediction on the banner situation? Is it going back up, lawsuit or no lawsuit, timeline, and will all those wins be restored if you had to guess? I mean, I don't know anything more than anybody else. The Mike Rutherford guarantee is out there, though. It's the one lingering guarantee, and the Rutherford guarantee has never been wrong. It will be back up. We're at I guaranteed within the next 10 years last year. So we've got a 9-year ticking clock. I think it'll be before then, but it will be back up in the next 9 years. As far as the records being restored, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it all goes down. I don't know if it goes back up as the result of the NCAA having diminished powers or ceasing to exist in its current form or something like that. I don't know if it'll take a lawsuit. It does sound like Josh Hurd is willing to go that route if the NCAA won't work with the school. But at some point in time, and probably in the next 3-4 years, the banner will go back up.
If that goes back up, we should get all our stats back.
We should. It's a matter of, I mean, we can just put them back in our record books. The NCAA can refuse to acknowledge them, and we can fight about that if we want to. I mean, I think the NCAA should restore all vacated record. I think it's ridiculous that the Fab Five doesn't exist in record books. I think it's ridiculous that John Calipari's Memphis and UMass Final Fours don't exist in record books. Those should all be restored. I don't know if anybody, maybe they just don't want to do the legwork to go back and like restore all the record. But you're seeing individual schools do that. I mean, who was it we talked about a few weeks ago? One school recently just said, to hell with it. The guy who had his senior season stats revoked 25 years ago, we're restoring those stats. He's once again our all-time leading scorer. So some schools are just saying, bleep it. We're recognizing those stats, even if the NCAA doesn't officially. We're saying that you're our all-time leading scorer. U of L, I guess, could do something like that. If they want to be worried about the NCAA coming down on them, then you take it to court. Texture says, as producer Matt texted in, if he wins the Golden Arm, I'll go to Long John Silver's and buy everyone at the Big X the Miller Moss meal. Have you seen the Miller Moss Long John Silver's billboard?
I haven't. Where is it?
Oh, I don't know where it is. I just saw the picture of it. It's real and it's spectacular. He looks incredible. He's wearing a Long John Silver's shirt.
I'll go try the Miller Moss meal.
$8.99 is what the billboard says. I have no idea what's in it. I assume it's a fish sandwich, though. Right? It's Long John Silver's. Here it is. Long John Silver's. It's the end zone platter is what it's called. The billboard, it just says Long John Silver's and Miller Moss. He's rocking a Long John Silver's T-shirt, holding out a football that has Long John Silver's on it, and it says $8.99 end zone platter. I believe that's hush puppies, maybe some cod, couple pieces of shrimp, and fries.
I'll grab one. I'll let you know what it's like.
No, producer Matt's going to buy it. He's going to win the Golden Arm Award, and producer Matt's going to buy us all the end zone platter.
I can't imagine.
Oh, it's happening. Texas says, how smart are Texas A&M fans looking for revolting against Stoops and getting Elko? Yeah, I mean, everybody wrote these be careful what you wish for stories when Tennessee fans revolted against Greg Schiano and got whoever they, got a coach that didn't work out. I can't remember who it was at this point. You're not seeing anybody write the story about, hey, good for Texas A&M fans for revolting. The fans did the right thing. Elko's crushing it there. Stoops would not have done it. Sometimes the people are right. Sometimes the rioters are they're in the right, and A&M fans were here. Texas Pryor will help some, but not as much as James Scott would have.
I don't agree.
I kind of do agree. We could use James on this team. I don't think that was ever the question. I don't think there was anybody who was like, we don't need James Scott. I think the issue was we can't pay $1.2 million.
Yeah,
for James Scott.
I just think that if you get a fully healthy Pryor back, I think that'll help more than a James Scott would to this current team.
You might be right. I feel like we're not educated enough to really know. We didn't see enough of him. Maybe he would have, we've made the point several times. Maybe he would have had the same type of progression last season that Terrence Edwards did, where he went from up and down type player to, oh my God, he's all ACC. We just don't know. Hopefully we find out soon. Texas, we need Charlie Tyree. So hairy you could not guard him like guarding a Brillo pad. The old school picture of Charlie, hairy guy. I think men were more hairy in the 50s and 60s. They're just that jersey. He looked like Teen Wolf out there playing. It's crazy. Maybe that's why he got so many. He had 40 rebounds in a game. Nobody wanted to touch that hair. Texas, I'm hoping that Virginia is following the Rutgers 2006 season arc where they eventually lost to Cincy and West Virginia in 2 of their last 3 games to get us in the Orange Bowl. Yeah, I think that Rutgers team was better than this Virginia team. But they did they lose both those games? They got blown out. we would have gone 11-1, beaten Miami, beaten West Virginia, and gone to the Texas Bowl. That would have been a very bitter pill to swallow at that point in time. It still would be a bitter pill to swallow. Thankfully, yeah, Rutgers lost to Cincinnati 30-11. They did bounce back and beat Syracuse the next week 38-7, and then lost to West Virginia 41-39 in overtime. It was a celebratory night. I think we lost a big basketball game that night, and then West Virginia beating Rutgers and sending us to the Orange Bowl made up for it. Fun night.
I don't get how some people's like 3 or 4 texts worked and then innocent a blank one. That's just so stupid.
It makes no sense. Texture says, as much as I keep hearing the name Cutter Bowley and put Cutter in the damn game, I'm waiting on someone to accidentally say Cutter Cheese. It's not going to happen. Texture says, all these texts aren't coming through. This is a disaster. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. My apologies for everybody who sent. Keep sending the texts in. Keep pumping them in. We'll read them if we see them. But
what did you think of Isaac McNeely last night?
I think he looked like what we expected. There were a bunch of stories written last week, and they were all off the comments because McNeely was made available to the media, and Pat Kelsey talked about him. There were these stories written about, we're going to unleash the full potential of Isaac McNeely. He's more than just an outside shooter. He's an athlete. Kelsey gave the quote about he can windmill on your head, all this stuff. I don't think I get that he's athletic. I don't think that McNeely is going to be much more than a guy doing the same things he did at Virginia, just at a much higher clip.
Yeah, and more organized system.
Yeah, we're going to ask him to shoot the ball more than he shot it at Virginia.
Dribble less.
He's got the green light. But, that's his bread and butter. He's our catch-and-shoot guy, and we don't really need him to be more than that. Would it be ideal if he could be a guy that could make plays off the bounce? Sure. But as long as he's a good enough passer, hit 42% of your threes, we're gold. That's what you're here to do.
Yeah.
Improve. Work as hard as you can to be an improved defender, but I don't need Isaac McNeely going to every now and then to keep defenses honest. Sure. Rain Smith did that last year. He had a handful of nice drives and dishes and a handful of nice drives and scores every now and then. But for the most part, be our catch and shoot guy. Be our guy who, there was a moment last night where someone missed a three. We got an offensive rebound. McNeely was wide open. They passed the ball out to him. And I'm like, well, that's three. Before he even gets into a shooting motion, you're like, that's going in. Be that guy for us this year, and that's enough. Do you agree?
I agree. I do like that we have a shooter like that now, though, who can, when he doesn't find the look on a catch and shoot, he can put the ball on the floor and get a good reset versus getting trapped where he caught the ball. Rain, I felt like, got into weird moments where he had to force a crazy pass out of the wing because 2 guys came and just put their hands up, and he wasn't confident enough to get around them. I like that we know that he can put the ball on the floor and at least make things happen out of the perimeter to get out of problem type of moments.
I agree. By the way, it's Dave Teeter from Jeffersonville. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dave.
We love Dave. He said, humor me with this. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done at a birthday party, yours or another person's? I don't know if I can say.
Yeah. I feel like this is pretty common with kids. I'm embarrassed about it to this day, but like my 10-year-old birthday party, I made a big scene and was all yelling at my parents and going crazy. My friends were all like deer in the headlights. I remember that to this day.
Okay.
Walked home from the park. It was bad.
You left your own birthday party?
Yeah.
I never had anything like that. I have a history of very bad luck on my birthday. Like, bad things happen either to me or nationally. It's kind of, we're taking a dark turn here. But I had a bad injury on my birthday one time. I had bad injury multiple times. I had just bad stuff has happened. It follows me around. But I've also I had one specific birthday where I know I got way too drunk. I remember that to this day.
I feel like for 8 years straight now, I've worked on my birthday.
That's no fun.
It's becoming a reoccurring theme.
can't remember another birthday party. Nothing too bad, I don't think. Dave says, left your own birthday party is crazy. Wonderful answers. Now let's punch some birthday tickets.
Do it.
Also says, the music today is banger after banger. Let's please beat VT by 5 TDs. Jeff, please. I can't believe Text Groove did this to my text on my birthday. Same. Scootator said, I'm not sure if this has been read or not, but with the Big X bosses trying to murder the vibes, I'm just trying to ensure that it got read. What did you say? Take this as you wish, but the last 2 years, I read your text
at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, but we read that right away. Vibes were good. I guess this is probably the time, too, where we should mention that we're back at Hoopsters in Jeffersonville tomorrow. We had technical difficulties last week. This is what they in the biz call a make good show. Because KRC they ended up not being able to do their show out there. We were kind of in and out. So the Big X will be back at Hoopsters in Jeffersonville tomorrow, right? It's not Friday.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah,
I'll be out there.
Roman will be out there this time. Is producer Matt going to be here?
Yep.
Okay. They've tested the connection. They're hoping it's going to work much better. We should have multiple microphones out there. But Hoopsters in Jeffersonville, we're out there tomorrow. We need to ride the vibes. I feel like we won in spite of the vibes last week. I feel like if we had done our part, if the show had gone swimmingly and everything was going well and things were falling into place and we had good karma, we would have beaten that BC team by 34.
See, I think it's the other way around.
What do you mean?
I think the fact that the only reason we won is because we technically did everything that we normally do Friday.
You think our grit and determination helped us win that game?
We got Ken on. We got Keith on.
We did, you're right.
We got our pick'em out. We got our game day music out. All of it was shaky, but it all technically was out there. We got the job done, and that's why Louisville ultimately was able to win that game. That was the clunker that we prevented from doing our part.
We channeled our inner Gunner Stockton. Gritty. We showed grit and fight. We lose that game if not for us. Now if we go out there and we have a perfect show, we make good on what went wrong last week, we're going to correctable mistakes. That's what Jeff Brom says, right? We're going to correct those mistakes. We're doing the legwork. We're doing our due diligence. We're going to have a fantastic group of shows out there, and we're going to beat Virginia Tech by 34.
With that being said,
okay,
make us some money tonight here in these crazy college football games.
Let's go to it. We got 2 college football games tonight. We also have a World Series game tonight at 8 o'clock. We'll start with college football. Doubleheader, not even a doubleheader. 7:30 on ESPN2 is the first game. Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks, 4-3 overall, 3-0 in CUSA, though, on the road in Murfreesboro, taking on a depleted Middle Tennessee State team. It's a proud program that suddenly is 1-6 and 0-3 in CUSA. Jacksonville State made money on them all year. They're just 3.5-point road favorites. That number's too small. Is it? Number's too small. Too small. Jacksonville State, Gamecocks, 2-game winning streak right now. They've played well on the road. They win this game. They cover the spread. Give me the Gamecocks. -3.5. I said they played well on the road. They've not played well on the road. They're playing well on the road tonight. They won me money last week against Delaware. Give me Jacksonville State. And then FIU at Missouri State. My guy Ryan Beard just keeps making me money. Missouri State, 2-1 in CUSA, 4-3 overall. FIU's 3-4 and 1-2. Mo State, 3.5-point favorites. Also too small. Parlay it. Middle Tennessee, Missouri State. Start again. Jacksonville State, Missouri State. They're both covering 3.5. Parlay that bad boy. They got this done tonight. World Series Game 5 tonight, Roman. Blue Jays, Dodgers. Who you got?
Snell on the mound going up against you, Savage. Give me the Dodgers.
Dodgers win tonight. I've called every game of this series correctly. I'm not missing tonight. Dodgers win it, but they're going back to Toronto. Let's go. Ticket Punchers up next. Find out what else you should bet on. Keep it locked right here. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30 at Hoopsters in Jeffersonville. We'll talk to you then. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
The Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanics.